Oh, right. Yeah. I might as well tell Chat too. The new thing they did different with some SCPs, you know how they have nicknames?
Yes,
They get rid of the nicknames of the SCPs and put their own nicknames.
that's not how it works.
Right. That's only for some of them. Not all of the videos they did, but some of them, yes.
This is honestly not a new one. Remember what they called the starving SCP?
Mm-hmm. Anyways, the next one, not next one, the first one, yay, more content farm hell, yeah. The first one is, wouldn't it be chilly? AKA SCP-3114. Item, SCP-3114, Object Class, Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-3114 is being held in a 3 meter by 7 meter enclosure surrounded by reinforced steel with impact glass windows for observation. A smaller 1 meter by 2 meter cell is attached to contain 3114 when its enclosure needs to be entered for maintenance, enrichment, or inspection. When 3114 is being moved from one section to another, a projection of a human subject will be displayed on a wall in the desired area. Once 3114 attacks the projection, the door will be closed. No personnel are to enter 3114's enclosure outside of approved testing procedures. Description: SCP-3114 is an inanimate human skeleton. It stands approximately 1.6 meters tall and weighs 30 kilograms. Though it has no articulation or connective tissue, its individual bones remain in place as they would in a human body. Individual bones can be pulled out of position but quickly return to their current position when there is no longer an outside force acting on them. Though 3114 is made of similar minerals as human bone, it is much denser and stronger, requiring more than 3 times as much force to break. A broken bone will mend, though it takes several weeks for a larger bone. There is no current explanation for 3114's ability to move. Its observed range of motion and its joints are similar to a healthy adult female's. It is mostly stronger than a human of comparable size, is able to lift at least 250 kilograms with one arm, and has a measured grip strength of 270 kilograms. Its maximum observed foot speed is 60 kilometers per hour. What? Yeah. 3114 is able to react to visual stimuli with an apparent field of view similar to a human's. However, it does not react to sound or smell. It responds to touch, but it is difficult to test its sensitivity. It is extremely aggressive and immediately attempts to attack any time it sees a human or other biological humanoid. When it sees a potential target, 3114 will take the quickest and most direct route it can, only avoiding obstacles it cannot push through. Once it reaches the target, it will latch on with its hands and begin squeezing around the throat. Once the target has stopped moving, 3114 begins tearing openings in the target's body and pulling out its bones over the course of several hours. Once it has completely removed the target's skeleton, it will attempt to pull the remaining flesh over itself. This tears the flesh into multiple parts. Once the body is no longer in one large piece, it loses interest in it. When no target is present, 3114 is fairly docile. It explores its enclosure but does not attempt to escape. SCP enrichment objects such as blocks, tires, cardboard boxes, and sticks are provided and replaced at regular intervals. When the lights are turned out for the night, 3114 lays down and becomes motionless. Though it resembles sleep, it is still capable of responding to visual stimuli. Experiment log excerpts. Entry 3, D-1724, a 120 kilogram adult male. Date redacted. D-1724 attempted to run when he saw 3114 approach. When it caught him, he attempted to fight back but was unable to do appreciable damage to 3114. However, this did agitate 3114 a great deal, and damage to the subject was greater than in other observed cases. 3114 gave up removing the subject's bones partway through when it became clear the subject's body was not intact. The remains were placed in a corner. 3114 placed several sticks in a cardboard box on top of the subject as though burying him. Entry 5. Store mannequin dressed as a Class D personnel. Date redacted. 3114 ran to the subject as expected, however, it stopped several feet away. It stared at it for several minutes, then waved a hand in front of the subject's face. It seemed confused by the lack of facial features. It proceeded to touch the top of its head, tapping it several times before it finally carried it back to its enclosure, where it placed it in a corner. It mimicked its pose several times while standing next to it. It removed the mannequin's clothes and attempted to wear them. However, it was unable to operate the belt. It could not keep the pants from falling. After several attempts, it appeared to grow frustrated. It removed the clothes, then threw them and the mannequin into a corner. Entry 6. Female Gorilla. Date redacted. 3114 approached the subject but did not become aggressive until the subject stood up. 3114 proceeded to engage its behavior, however the gorilla was able to break 3114's left ulna before it expired. 3114 was unable to fit itself into the subject's body, giving up after the body was no longer intact. It was buried in the corner as with previous subjects. Entry 9. Male Border Collie. Date redacted. 3114 approached the subject cautiously. It examined it with its fingers and seemed surprised when the dog licked it. It interacted with the dog for 2 hours, becoming visibly more excited. It appeared to be engaging in play behavior. It wrestled with the dog without harming it and threw sticks for it. At one point, the dog attempted to bite 3114's lower left leg, at which point 3114 struck it sharply, frightening the subject. However, neither appeared to have been seriously harmed, and both returned to their play. The subject was removed from the enclosure without incident. 3114 stood at the exit for several hours after the subject was removed, striking walls repeatedly. However, it did not use enough force to cause damage to its enclosure. Entry 13. Human cadaver. Female, 55 kilograms, 2 days after death. Date redacted. 3114 reacted as it would to a live human, including an attempt to crush its throat for several minutes, otherwise identical to tests with similarly sized live subjects. Entry 14. Human skeleton articulated for teaching. Date redacted. 3114 approached the subject rapidly but did not attack. Instead, it examined the subject for several minutes, then began to prod it. When this elicited no response, it ran its hand along the top of its subject's head. It then carefully removed the subject from its stand and carried it back to its enclosure. It cradled the subject for several hours. It then put the subject in the same position it takes during sleep periods. Entry 16. Human cadaver. Male, 155 kilograms, 1 hour after death. Date redacted. Subject reacted as in log entry 13. However, it was able to keep the body intact while placing itself inside. It walked around its enclosure for an hour while wearing the subject. When a projection was shown to clean the enclosure, 3114 did not attempt to attack the projection. Instead, it walked up to it and began to attempt interaction. D-4843, an adult male, was placed in an enclosure. When 3114 approached, he attempted to escape. 3114 grabbed him, but did so gently. It continued to try interacting with him, taking his hand and placing it on his face, trying to ape his movements and embracing him. He reacted negatively to all interactions. After 3 hours, D-4843 was removed from the enclosure. 3114 waited for several minutes at the door, then it tore the subject off of itself. It kicked the remains into a corner, then laid down next to the subject of entry 14. It did not move for 3 days, at which point it resumed its normal behavior. This is just a sad anomaly.
I think it's someone who died, but then after losing the flesh for whatever reason, they did not stay dead.
Yeah.
Instead, she has been trying to figure out how to communicate with people again. It explains how she reacted to people, the clothes. She wants to be a flesh person again. She wants to be able to speak and interact normally, but she can't speak. She's a skeleton. Even when she was wearing the corpse, she could not speak because corpse voices obviously do not work.
Yeah, also, I just saw the thumbnail.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
You
The
gotta have.
only corpse she put on was a male's corpse. Yes, she's a woman, but that doesn't make the corpse a woman. What? Why? Why do they sexualize her? She doesn't have bones. She's a skeleton. Are they going to sexualize every single woman with, even without a pulse?
It
She
Booger says,
doesn't have a pulse.
Booger says, but tits. It's a 4. We got that.
Yeah.
Also, the more I look at it, the more some of the bone parts don't look right. Like it's a bit off center.
The photograph.
Hold on.
I mean, not photograph. You mean the art? Well, that's because one, they did the ribs wrong. Two, the hand is wrong. You only need to examine human anatomy to realize how wrong it is. I only know this because of college classes. Before then, I knew basically nothing about human skeletons, but let me just pick up a picture very, very quick for you.
Yeah.
Like, for one, the spaces between the ribs for the rib cage is off, and
Yeah,
I
that's
need
what I
to
was
shut up
talking
and
about.
just. Huh?
That's what I was talking about, because I know the rib cages, like, the spaces are not that big. Right?
Well, they're not that big because it literally exists for holding everything in place.
Yeah. Wait, I just noticed the background. There's corpses.
They don't let her keep bodies. And there we go. A photograph.
Yeah.
Technically, let's face it, it's probably a photograph of a copy of a skeleton. The people are allowed to real skeletons anymore. Either way, it shows how wrong the rib cage is.
Yeah.
Besides the fact that the ribs are too far apart and they're not technically positioned correctly, it also forgot to include the part of the skeleton of the rib cage that holds everything together. You're not supposed to be easy to open.
I sent it to Bookworm too. Alright. So luckily this time they did include the nickname, but they also included their own. Oh my god, I already see what they're doing. And it did include the did include the license. Oh my god, they also included the license for 049 containment chamber.
Uh,
Are they gonna add the plague doctor in here?
they're going to present her incorrectly, aren't they?
Maybe. Are we ready?
Yeah. Bookworm, are you ready?
Alright then. 3, 2, 1.
A sick, crunching sound. He could just make out the shape of a person, crouched down and facing away from him. There it was again. The sound sent a shiver down his spine. He recognized it, but hoped to God it wasn't what he thought it
They
was.
gave the skeleton booty.
Yep.
Stand up slowly, turn and face me.
It ignored him.
I said stop! Stand up and turn around!
The crunching stopped. The figure slowly stood up, still facing away from him. Its body, its shape. It was contorted and bent in an inhuman way. As it turned around, his eyes grew wide in shock. This was no person. It moved towards him, the skin hanging off its bones. He stood, frozen to the spot. He tried to scream, but its fingers were around his neck already. Welcome back. Today I bring you SCP-3144.
Yeah, she tried to attempt communication with a corpse on them.
4. Wouldn't it be chilly? Please remember to subscribe. What the hell? What is it?
Security breach, sir. Unknown traffic detected in the internal network.
Again? This is the 3rd time this week. Carry on. Don't you sleep? On occasion. If you're looking for Klaus, he's not in the lab. Where is he then? Follow me. I have a suspicion.
Come on, come on! Almost there. Just one more
Is this gonna be
minute.
an ad?
What
Yep.
did I tell you? Seriously?
Skip the
Hey
ad.
guys, what's up?
We'll first see if there actually
Told
is
you
an ad.
before. If you're gonna do that, use NordVPN.
Yep.
Click on my NordVPN link in the description. This exclusive deal can get you a 2-year NordVPN plan, plus 1 more month on the examination table, if you could call it that. All that remained of the woman from the alley was her skin. Jesus, she's been flayed.
Yeah, the bones and internal organs were found in a
Okay.
pot.
I'm just gonna.
She keeps the organs in.
Yeah, also, here's another thing. I'm pretty sure the breast tissue would be damaged. It wouldn't be poking up like that. It would probably be sagging down.
Well, they said it was literally only the skin, so
Yeah.
they're saying the boob can hold its shape when it's only boob skin.
Which, no, he can't.
The power of boob compels you.
Power of fat tits compels you.
Also, if she's just skin, why is the face keeping its shape?
I don't know.
Pile a few meters away from the skin.
What about the cop?
He's still missing, sorta.
What do you mean, sorta?
We've got his bones and organs, but
What?
no skin.
Chen raised an eyebrow. So the killer took his skin?
It would appear so.
An agent rushed into the lab.
Dr. Klaus, Agent Shen, we've got a hit on its whereabouts. What did you find? Surveillance from the cop's house spotted him returning home. He was moving oddly. All right, let's go check it out.
Moving oddly?
Like you're wearing a skin suit.
The van slowed in front of the house.
He doesn't
All right,
remove the organs.
let's keep it quiet.
Yeah, doesn't remove the organs.
Intel tells us the cop had a family. We don't know their condition, so we assume they're alive. Let's try to keep it that way. As they approached the house, they heard a window break from inside, and a child scream. Scratch that, let's go! They burst through the front door. Huddled in a corner of the room was a figure holding 2 children. It turned its head to look at the agents. It was the cop, or at least what was left of his decaying skin. Hold up, Chen signaled. The creature turned its attention back to the children. Take it easy. Can you understand me? It made no sign of understanding or caring what Chen had to say. He took a step forward. It turned back and stared at him. Okay. Klaus came up from behind.
Try the children.
Try the what?
The children. He doesn't seem to be harming them. If he lets them go, perhaps we can use them to lure him out.
I don't know about this, Doc. Could get awful bad in a hurry.
It's our best bet. He could have killed them already, but he hasn't. I'm betting he doesn't intend to.
Alright, let's give it a shot.
The kids are James and Clarice.
Okay. Hey there, James?
James.
What kind of name is James?
It's in the file.
Fine. James, can you try to stand up and slowly walk towards me? The boy shook his head. Okay, that's fine. Don't worry. We'll make sure nothing happens to you. The girl slowly raised her hand. Clarice, do you want to try? She nodded her head. Okay, just slowly stand up and come towards me. The little girl stood up. The creature watched her, but didn't move. She slowly walked towards the agents. As she did, the creature stood. It's all right. Keep on coming. She moved forward again. The creature started to reach a hand out, but stopped when James stood up. He grabbed Clarice's hand as she led him forward. The creature slowly followed, its skin hanging loose. You're doing great. Just a little further now. The two children reached the open van and stopped, the creature now alongside them. Clarice raised her hand and pointed into the open van. It looked at where her arm pointed and then back to her. She motioned once more, and it climbed in. The door quickly shut behind.
That was very brave of you. Agent, bring them all back with us.
Why did they add that?
The creature sat in the
violence?
corner of its...
I don't know.
When they kept, why did they fucking add eyeballs?
I don't know. Maybe facial expressions?
How did they add violence? You know what? This one's easier to add violence to than the other fuse they have.
Yeah.
containment cell, most of the skin now discarded. It was a skeleton, an animated, somewhat living skeleton. It touched the remaining skin on its arm. It rubs a lotion on its skin.
What?
Wait.
Oh, nothing. Just reminded me of something. So, who or what is this thing?
As you can imagine, we don't have much to go on. It's not like this thing has fingerprints.
Pythia?
Why, Chen? Do you miss our oracle?
Just beating you to it, Doc.
Sure. Well, we'll need a sample for her to get a reading. How about the dog?
A dog? For what?
Distraction? I'd rather not send a couple of children in.
Good point. The two D-class looked nervously into the room.
Oh man, I don't know about this.
Just take the dog with you, unleash it when you get inside. It'll
My
keep the
God.
thing distracted,
Are
and
they
you
sending
snap off a bone.
What
a
if it?
shaggy?
What'd you say?
Are they sending a shaggy?
Yes.
Okay.
For some reminded of the skeleton with breastbones. For some reason, someone made a human skeleton with bones in the chest area just to point out it was a female skeleton.
Doesn't like
Oh
the
my
dog.
god.
Then you better hope it likes her more than you.
It haunts
The
me.
two walked into the cell with the dog. The first D-class whispered to the other.
You think he remembers us? I hope not. He was a terrible roommate.
They unleashed the dog,
What?
which to their surprise went to the discarded
Right.
skin in the corner. The skeleton watched intently, then crawled towards the dog.
Oh, thank Christ for that. Get the bone.
The woman looked back in surprise.
What? I brought the dog. You get the bone.
She let out a sigh and made her way towards the corner. She nervously bent down and reached around the back of the skeleton. In a flash, she pulled her hand back.
They
went
never
running straight for the
pulled off
containment
part
door.
of its
You got it?
body.
Yeah,
They're
'cause it would,
needlessly mutilating it.
and plus it would be pulled right back.
Yeah.
She nodded back anxiously, brandishing a small bone.
That's
This
not
is
how
what they
it
got
works.
us. At a toe or something.
Distal phalanx from the look of it.
Chen raised an eyebrow. A pinky?
Did someone say pinky?
Need to get that containment cell soundproofed.
Oh, Chen, what would be the point in that? You know as well as I do that this doesn't contain me.
Show off.
Toad.
Toad? What the?
Pythia, could you give us some insight on this? We have an SCP, which is an animated skeleton. It's been on a bit of a killing spree.
Juicy serial killer skeleton.
It's not quite adding up, though. It doesn't harm kids or animals. It's almost as if he's taking the skin to be human.
They said he.
They have kept calling her a key the whole time, yep.
Let's have a look then, shall we?
Lost laid the bone down in front of her. They were in a basement. A
What?
solitary light bulb hung from the ceiling, swinging gently from side
This
to
is
side.
from a movie.
The
I
walls
forgot what
and
movie.
ground were earthen. Besides the staircase leading up, nothing set it apart from some sort of underground cave. In the center of the room, a dark hole had been dug under the light bulb. Chen moved towards the hole.
Put the
Curious
lotion
as
in
to
the
what was
basket.
inside. The door above the staircase creaked open. Light shone in.
Silence of
Chen
the
took a
lamp.
step back,
Yep.
looking to the top of the stairs. A man in
Oh
a
my
gown descended the
gosh, they
steps
are doing
and walked
Silence
towards
of
the
the
hole.
Lamb.
In his arms was a small dog.
To
He
the
looked down into
SCPs,
the chasm
SCPs when
and
they
grinned
refer
to
to as
himself.
subjects or something.
He grabbed the rope
Nah, they
suspended
refer
over
to
the
them as
hole
SCPs
and
sometimes.
pulled until a bucket came from below. Inside were bones and bits of flesh. He turned to walk away. That's when they realized it. The robe he wore, the back of it was made from flesh. Human flesh. He was wearing a skin suit.
This is not
Chen
a
stared at the man in
background
shock.
SCP has.
He's the
Yeah.
killer. Who knows how many people he's murdered? He's gonna stay locked up for the rest of time. Skinning people.
It's not him.
What? Chen turned back to see Pythia and Klaus kneeling by the open pit. What do you mean it's not him? Chen looked down into the hole. But who?
The bone, Chen. The bone isn't that man's. It's hers. He's too big. This poor girl was the victim. That's why she doesn't hurt the children or animals. She's not a murderer.
But if that's true, why did she kill the others?
She doesn't understand anymore. She doesn't understand what she is.
But why skin them?
To recover the skin that monster took from her. She just wants to be human once more.
What?
SCP-3114 is an animate human skeleton. It stands approximately 1.6 meters tall and weighs 30 kilos. Though 3114 is made of
What
similar
is this
minerals as human
skeleton?
bone,
I know it's hard, but Jesus fuck. I'm sorry.
it is much denser and stronger, requiring more than 3 times as much force to break. A broken bone will mend, though it takes several weeks for a larger bone. There is no current explanation of 3114's ability to move. Its observed range of motion in its joints are similar to a healthy adult female's. It is much stronger than a human of comparable size. It is able to lift at least 250 kilos with one arm, and has a measured grip strength of 270 kilos. Its maximum observed foot speed is 60 kilometers per hour.
Females with respect in these videos, will they?
Nope.
When it sees a potential target, 3114 will take the quickest, most direct route it can, only avoiding obstacles it cannot push
Not
through.
getting a high rating,
Once
is
it reaches a target,
Nope.
it will latch on with its hands and begin squeezing around the throat. Once the target has stopped moving, 3114 begins tearing openings in the target's body and pulling out its bones over the course of several hours. Once it has completely removed the target's skeleton, it will attempt to pull the remaining flesh over itself. This tears the flesh into multiple parts. Once the body is no longer in one large piece, it loses interest in it. 3114 is held in a 3 meter by 7 meter enclosure surrounded by reinforced steel, with impact glass windows for observation. A smaller 1 meter by 2 meter cell is attached to contain 3114 when its enclosure needs to be entered for maintenance, enrichment, or inspection. When 3114 needs to be moved from one section to another,
I did
a
that.
projection of a human subject will be displayed on a wall in the desired area. Once 3114 attacks the projection, the door will be closed. No personnel are to enter 3114's enclosure outside of approved testing procedures.
The things that happen to us craft what we become and how we deal with others. However, just because horrible things have happened to us doesn't mean we are destined to do them to others.
As always, have a care and remember to subscribe, like, and share.
4. They removed characters. By default, we have to give it a 4 with how many characters it removed.
Yeah.
It removed the actual D-class in the story. It removed the gorilla. We barely got the dog. And I don't think I need to go on.
Wait. Have a care? They said that in every video? Yeah, they did. added gore or violence.
I feel like they added some, but not a lot.
Yeah,
A 2 or a 3. What would you give it?
probably 2. It's more tame than what they usually do.
Yeah.
Deviates from the plot of the article.
4.
Only.
They made a plot of Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah. Also, with the offensiveness, like, is calling someone a toad bad? Because Pythagoras sometimes does, like, racial remarks to Chen. So, when she...
Wait, are you asking if toad is a racial remark?
Not...
No,
I...
toad just means she's calling them ugly.
Oh, okay. Because it's... She's done a racial stereotype before in the
Yes, she
video.
has. So it's not racist. It's just her being a bit
Yeah.
unfriendly person. Me wanting to call everyone of every gender who's acting a certain way a word I should probably not say on Twitch.
Yeah, so offensiveness / only men in the video.
They removed female characters. They misgendered the skeleton for over half of the video. And they were sexist to the point where they added magical boob padding to a lady's skin. What number would we put that at?
Probably 3 or 4.
Would you call that 3 or 4, Spood? I don't know what you're talking about, but probably 4.
What does Bookworm think? And Zanju, since you're here too. What do you guys think? 4 is worst.
We're talking about an SCP that's a female skeleton. In the video the content farm made, they had her pull off the skin of a woman that she didn't actually pull off in the file, and they had the skin's boobs hold up on its own without any organs. And her face, because they had to have you know she was a pretty woman with boobs. But that requires fat and flesh, not skin. From 1 to 4, what would you rate that on sexism? That's a pretty high score for sexism and poor anatomy, poor understanding of anatomy. Don't worry, we already know that they don't know anything about anatomy. You should see. In fact, this is the picture they did of skeletal structure earlier. That's their thumbnail. You see, there's yeah. I feel like your vibe is you're thinking 4. You're thinking it's a 4. Yeah. And if we could put a higher number, you'd want a higher number.
Says 4 sounds good just for the bad anatomy and boobs.
Okay, Spood and Bookworm both say 4. And you know what? I have to agree.
Yeah, which means it gets a whopping 10%.
You know what? That's better than the past 3, so...
Now, if I remember... Okay. I'm gonna double check this because I don't... Did they... Okay, so it's not this one. Sorry about that. Alright.
I'm gonna slightly get dressed.
You want me to wait for you?
My clothes are in the same room.
Oh, so you'll hear me.
Yes.
Okay. The next SCP is a family of cotton, aka SCP-670. Item: SCP-670. Object Class Safe. Special Containment Procedures. The family unit collectively referred to as SCP-670 is currently contained at Sector 25 located in Redacted, England. Members of 670 are to be contained in a shared 12 meters by 6 meter holding cell, observed via surveillance camera. Cell is to contain 4 beds, a bathroom, and an observation window. All staff entering 670's containment area are to be searched for lighters, matches, and other sources of open flames. 670 is to be provided with 45 centimeters of cotton, 25 centimeters of silk, 25 centimeters of polyester, 15 centimeters of rayon, and 12 centimeters of rope each month. Any objects created... Yeah. Any objects created by members of 670 should be used as a weapon that could be used as a weapon are to be immediately removed from the containment area. Alright, description. SCP-670 is comprised of 4 roughly humanoid individuals, -1, -2, -3, and -4, who refer to themselves collectively as the Cotton Family. Oh no, I'm already getting a bad idea what they're gonna do with this.
Are they going to be giant living dolls?
Jerry, at what point in history were a certain race connected with cotton farms?
I don't think this is what's going on because it said.
No, I mean in the
cotton
videos.
Oh.
Yes! Now you get what I mean.
Can we just enjoy the SCP before going into the video?
Yeah.
Because I like that idea of living dolls being terrifying, but just doing their own shit.
Yeah. -1 and -2 appear to be the father and mother of the family, judging by their height and comments made in interviews, while -3 and -4 are the children of the family. Members of 670 possess a thin outer layer of hardened clay skin, showing signs of deterioration over a long length of time. Under this, the organs, flesh, and nervous system are composed entirely of different types of thread. The majority of the thread used is cotton, but large amounts of silk and polyester are also present. Small amounts of rayon and nylon are also noted in the internal organs. The skeleton is composed of rope knotted into a suitable shape, and the fingers of 670 members seem to be rusted sewing needles. Members of 670 have demonstrated an advanced aptitude for the use of thread using their fingers to create extremely complicated objects, such as suitable eating implements and seating in a short amount of time. Notable objects created by members of 670 include 1 bicycle, functional, 1 television, non-functional, 1 clock, functional, 1 roast chicken, consumed by members of 670, 1 detailed family portrait, 1 dagger.
Oh.
Members of 670 show discomfort when using objects not composed of thread, such as plastic chairs or writing implements. The reason for this is currently unknown, and members of 670 refuse to elaborate on it. 670 was first discovered at Redacted Forest near Redacted, when a group of hikers reported that they found a house made of rope in the forest. Agents were dispatched to investigate the matter and discovered 670. Hikers were dosed with Class A amnestics, and 670 was brought into containment without incident. Interviewed. SCP-670-1. Interviewer Dr. Redacted. Forward. At approximately Redacted on Redacted -1 constructed a dagger using 670's monthly thread ration. The dagger was immediately confiscated and -1 brought in for questioning. Begin log. SCP-670-1 is brought in by security. Dr. Redacted. Hello, SCP-670-1. Please have a seat. SCP-670-1 looks down at the seat. Do you have any other chairs? I'm afraid not. Can I stand? No. SCP-670-1 sits down. What's this about? I understand you made a dagger earlier today. What did you intend to do with it? SCP-670-1 seems confused at this point. I don't see what. Oh my goodness, no. I'm not a violent man, sir.
I see. However, I didn't intend. If you didn't intend to escape, what was it for?
Rodents, sir.
I'm sorry.
Well, I've been hearing squeaking the last few nights, and I thought I should try to get rid of the rats. They spread diseases, you know.
Alright. Well, while you're here, -1, I'd like to ask you a few questions.
I'll try my best, sir.
Could you please tell me where and when you were born?
Redacted. 18 redacted, sir.
Do you have any relatives?
Yes, sir, my two children. Alfie and Elizabeth.
I mean parents.
Oh, you mean Granddad Cotton?
Could you tell me more about Granddad Cotton, -1?
Well, he was a clever guy. Good with his hands. Trisha said himself. As you can see, don't really remember much about him. He died a while back. Great guy, though.
Well, can you tell me how you met your wife?
-1 appears uncomfortable. I don't quite remember that, sir. It was a long time ago.
Well, that's all for now, -1. Please return the article contained earlier. We won't tolerate weapons again.
Sorry, sir. End log.
He's from the 1800s. No wonder he's fucking good with his hands.
Yep. Closing statement. SCP-670-1 was returned to the containment area and is currently under heightened surveillance. Hello at SCP-408. Anyways, on with SCP. Alright. Incident 670-1. SCP involved. SCP-670. Date redacted. Location 670 containment area. Description. 7:40 p.m. Members of 670 are consuming polyester steak. -3's eating implements slip out of its hands. -3 suffers a small laceration on his left leg and attempts to conceal it. Other members of 670 do not notice his laceration. 8:10 p.m. Members of 670 are conversing while seated. -3 stands to get up but stumbles, revealing its injury. Other members of 670 quickly approach. 8:11 p.m. -1 and -4 restrain -3. -2 begins to carefully remove outer clay layer from -3. -3 vocalizes its distress at this point and continues to do so until 8:19 p.m. 8:13 p.m. -3's outer layer is completely removed. A stitched together inner layer of red cotton is visible. -2 begins to unstitch this inner layer. 8:15 p.m. -2 deposits unstitched cotton thread on the cell floor. Inner workings of -3 are now visible, including the heart and lungs. -2 begins unstitching the lungs. 8:17 p.m. -2 deposits unstitched polyester thread from the legs next to the cotton thread. -3's attempts to escape become less violent. -2 begins unstitching the heart. 8:19 p.m. -2 deposits unstitched nylon and polyester from the heart. -3 ceases movement and vocalizations at this point, presumed dead. Central nervous system, brain, and skeleton are now visible. 8:25 p.m. -2 has unstitched the brain and central nervous system, begins untying the skeleton. 8:28 p.m. Skeleton is untied and placed next to other disassembled materials of -3. 8:29 p.m. -1 approaches the observation window and requests identical materials to those currently on the cell floor. Request accepted. 8:34 p.m. Requested materials are brought in by 2 D-class personnel. -2 requests that the clay skin is not removed, but other materials are delivered without incident. Materials that comprise -3 are retrieved for further study. 8:35 p.m. -2 begins creating an identical copy of -3 from the delivered materials. 8:44 p.m. Clay skin is applied to copy. Copy of -3 is completed. -1 refers to it as Alfie Cotton. 8:45 p.m. SCP-670 retires to their beds. Retrieved materials contain no anomalous properties, but study is still ongoing.
think the anomalous properties is in the clay covering the materials.
Yeah, 'cause I was starting to think from, I think it's like Jewish folklore, the golems. It's-
Well, it's not just Jewish folklore. There's common
Okay.
folklore where clay is used to craft life. Even ancient Greek mythology
Oh,
says that the
yeah.
gods crafted humanity from
I
clay.
forgot about that. Yeah, they did. Alright.
So we don't know the nationality of Grandpa Cotton, but someone in the 1800s named Cotton crafted the little family and used special clay to do it. And
Er,
that special clay allows them to be alive.
Alright, the thumbnail isn't as bad as the previous ones.
Yeah, but it's still a little off.
Yeah.
Instead of making them look like doll people, they're making it look like they're mutilating a child and turning her into a doll. Actually, isn't it? Aren't they making it look like?
Wait, I just realized something. Isn't clay, like, more brown colored?
Yes. There's, as far as I know, there's no skin-colored clay. There's red clays, there's brown clays, there's gray clays. There's not a peach clay. Also, like I was saying before, the design is less like doll people and more like Coraline. You
Okay.
notice they have button eyes, but she has one person eye and one button eye. They also gave the mother, the Dash 2, fingers similar to the other mother.
Oh my gosh, watch, they're gonna bring Coraline's mother and shit, other mother in here. Miss Anomaly.
Also, they gave Dash 1 one normal hand, and then they gave him a scissor finger for some.
You want to do, like, a 3?
I would call it a 4 because it feels like
Ah.
clickbait because it looks less like a friendly family and more like Coraline. They're purposely giving it Coraline vibes.
Whoops, wrong one. Yep, they got the license correct this time. Alright. We ready?
I bet you they're going to go for Coraline vibes for this rather than the actual SCP.
The thing I'm fearing is they go racist.
We'll find out.
Oh wait, I need to get rid of the thumbnail.
Technically, by
Machine.
making the flesh, the clay like white people flesh tone, they've already gone racist. Let's be honest.
Alright. In 3, 2, 1.
It was a new path for him, one he'd heard about before, but never ventured down. In fact, everyone had heard of this path, and most chose to avoid it. Rumors akin to a cabin in the woods. The usual late-night horror stuff, he told himself. Truth be told, he hadn't wanted to venture down this path today, especially not this late, and even more so by himself. In fact, everyone had heard of this path, and most chose to avoid it. He was starting to regret that decision now. The GPS showed that he was about 8 kilometers down the path. It would soon be time to turn around, before it got too late. He looked up to the sky. He still had probably 2 hours until the sun would begin to set. He turned his gaze back down to the path before him. To his astonishment, he saw a cabin in the distance. Had that been there before? It couldn't have just materialized out of thin air, right? He shook off the idea. Must just be his mind playing tricks on him. He approached the cabin. Only as he got nearer did he notice something strange about it. It appeared to be built almost entirely from rope. He saw something move on the roof of the house. It looked like a child. As he looked back down, he saw 3 more figures coming from the side of the house. He stared at them. What were they? His phone slipped out of his hand and clattered to the ground. The figure on the roof turned at the sound and lost its footing. It fell from the roof and hit the ground with an awful thud. Oh God, he thought to himself. Was he okay? He looked injured. He ran forward to the group now surrounding the body on the ground. They appeared to be a family. He felt awful. As he reached them, it dawned on him. They weren't human. They seemed to be covered in some kind of clay. Their eyes were buttons and fingers sharp, rusted needles. Their hair seemed to be made from cotton.
How does that look like clay?
Huh?
He said it looked like they were made of clay.
They look like dolls.
Yeah, they don't look like they're covered in clay. Yeah, not the
Or
most
silk.
fun thinking it.
Yeah.
They crowded around the boy who had fallen from the roof. What had he done? He tried to apologize, but they ignored him, seemingly focused on helping the boy on the floor. He tried to peek over them, but couldn't see the extent of the injuries. Something came flying out of the group. Then another piece, and another. He looked on the ground. It appeared like bits of clay and yarn. Were they removing his clothes? How bad were his injuries? More bits came flying out. Now silk and sections of rope? They suddenly stopped. A small pile of material on the ground beside them. I'm so sorry. Is he okay? The figure, which appeared to be the father, stood up and looked at him, his expression blank. The rest stood up behind him. He feared what they would do next, but instead, they just walked past him. What in the world was going on? He turned back to look at the boy. Welcome back. Today I bring you SCP-670, Family of Cotton. Please remember to subscribe. And back across the pond we go. Maybe this time Stonehenge?
Maybe this time, work?
Boring. Come on, one day. Just
Why
one day.
are we having the family of Cotton be in England?
I don't know. And plus, why did you want to go to the Stonehenge SCP? It's dangerous.
I feel like this SCP was designed to be somewhere in the United States because it's a big place where honestly a building could be there for like possibly hundreds of years and no one would fucking notice.
Jen was for danger. True.
I mean, at least they haven't added violence yet.
Yep. Anyways.
But they did have them incorrectly throw the clay away, and they also incorrectly colored the clay.
Yeah. True, England is small island. Yeah.
I mean, a red clay would be nice, a brown clay, a gray clay, but human flesh-colored clay doesn't exist in nature.
Yeah. Anyways.
Are you an agent or a child, Chen? I'm not your guardian. Can we just discuss a little work now?
Fine.
After the hiker got home, he reported the incident to the authorities, hence why we're on a plane.
Has anyone interacted with them since?
Negative. They've set a wide cordon and surveillance is up, but since the incident, they haven't left their house.
Alright, let me catch some Z's before we land.
Good idea. I might get something to drink before turning in. It's getting late. Do you want anything? Chen? Chen?
Yeah, narcolepsy or something?
The small rope cabin stood quietly, just as it had been when the hiker had found it. The pile of cotton, silk, and rope was nowhere to be seen.
It was a family of 4, but from what the hiker told us, it's now 3.
The boy who fell off the roof?
Yes, it seems there wasn't much left after the family gathered around him. From the sounds of it, the injuries must have been pretty severe. Of course, it's all speculation as we don't know what they are.
Alright, family of 3 it is. Chen knocked on the door. A moment later, it opened slightly.
Yes, may I help you?
Hi, we're here regarding the incident the other day.
Incident? What incident?
Your son. I'm very sorry for your loss.
I'm sorry, I haven't a clue what you're referring to.
The accident? Your son. He fell off the roof.
I really don't know what you're talking about. My son is fine.
The man opened the door. Behind him stood a woman and 2 children. Klaus looked to Chen.
I'll need to ask you to come with us.
The man frowned, but nodded his head.
All right, I think I understand who you are. We'll come quietly. We aren't dangerous.
The agents
Why
escorted
would
them
we
out the door.
understand who they are?
Right. They don't know.
They seem, well, pretty chill and friendly.
Indeed, very courteous. I still don't understand what happened to the boy, though. Either the hiker is mistaken about the severity of the boy's injuries, or something else is at play here. Have they requested anything?
Just some materials. Cotton, rope, silk. For crafting.
Have they made anything?
Yeah. A knife, TV, bicycle, and I guess some food?
Did you say a knife?
Yeah. It's been confiscated, though. Klaus pressed the intercom.
Mr. Cotton,
Yes, sir. How may I assist you?
did you craft a knife?
Indeed, I did.
You are aware that no violence will be tolerated.
Violence? Oh, no. Dear me, I do apologize. Rats, you see.
Rats?
Yes, I've spotted them during the night. Nasty creatures, you know.
Okay, but please, just let us know next time.
Righto. Sorry again.
You buy it?
Perhaps. I have seen the odd rat around here myself. Did you find anything else about the boy?
Nope. Still doesn't know what we're talking about.
I feel like there wouldn't
Mr.
actually be
Cotton.
rats
Sir?
at the Foundation.
Yeah.
That would be a containment breach.
Yeah. And plus, if they did have rats in the Foundation, they would probably just let go a couple of their cat SCPs that are safe.
Could
Like-
you imagine a rat getting into the cell of the old man's cell and
Oh, yeah.
allowing a shadow to get it out?
Yep.
That is why I don't think that would happen.
Well, actually, there is one anomaly that would allow that to happen, and that would be, what's his name? It's one of the gods they have in containment.
Oh.
I forgot his name.
So if the god SCP is in the same building, it might be letting rats in.
Yeah, fuck, what's its name? It's not pestilence, it's something like it. But yeah, that one, it does let, like, rats, bats, bugs.
That's fair.
Yeah. And even birds, too. I forgot about birds. Yeah. Anyways.
Do you have any other relatives?
My wife and 2 children, Daniel and Elizabeth.
What about parents?
Oh, you mean Granddad Cotton? Can't say I remember much,
Wait,
to be
isn't
honest.
the
He
child's
passed.
name Elfie or something?
Yeah, Elfie and
son?
Elizabeth.
Yeah, they renamed him to Daniel.
Now.
A long time ago.
Yep.
When exactly were you born?
Oh, dear me. Memory isn't what it used to be. I'd have to say 1850? Give or take 40 years.
Interesting.
We don't know
That's all for
what
now. Thank you.
after 18.
Righto.
It's redacted.
What you
Yeah,
thinking?
also, they said 1915 when that's not, when it was in the 1800s, not the 1900s.
Yeah.
I wish Pythia was here. She might be able to shed some light on this situation.
Next move?
Let's hang tight for a day or two, continue interrogation, and see if something comes up. Sir, there's been an incident with SCP-670. What
Oh,
happened?
no.
Situation is ongoing. The son, Daniel, seems to have sustained an injury. The family surrounded him, but they're blocking surveillance. Was the incident captured on CCTV? Yes, sir. Let's take a look, quickly.
The family was sitting down for dinner. The wife presented a roast chicken made from the materials supplied: cotton, silk, and rope. There. Did you see that?
What happened?
Rewind it. The boy had cut his leg with his own finger. A few strands of cotton unwound. You see that? He's trying to cover it up. A moment later, the boy stood up, but stumbled. The father grabbed his hand, as the rest of the family stood up. They pulled him to the ground and surrounded him, blocking the CCTV.
Let's get to their cell, now! Mr. Cotton, please step away from Daniel. Mr. Cotton!
The father stood up and walked towards the glass.
How may I assist you?
Daniel, what did you do to him?
I'm not sure what you mean.
We saw you pulling him apart.
Apart, sir?
Don't deny it. I can see the pile in the corner. What did you do to Daniel?
I'm sorry, but who's Daniel?
Who's Daniel? Who's Daniel? Your son! Your son, Daniel!
I'm very sorry, but I don't know any Daniel. My son is Alfie.
What?
But his son was-
SCP-670 is comprised of 4
Alfie!
roughly humanoid
Yeah.
individuals, 670-1, -2, -3, and -4, who refer to themselves collectively as the Cotton family.
I don't know.
-1 and
I feel
2
like
appear
having the child renamed after being put together was suggestive that they murder their child every time he gets injured.
Yep.
Which I don't really agree with.
to be the father and the mother of the family, judging by their height and comments made in interviews, while -3 and -4 are the children of the family. Members of SCP-670 possess a thin outer layer of hardened clay skin, showing signs of deterioration from over a long length of time. Under this, the organs, flesh, and nervous system are composed entirely of different types of thread. The majority of the thread used is cotton, but large amounts of silk and polyester are also present. Small amounts of rayon and nylon are also noted in the internal organs. The skeleton is composed of rope, knotted into a suitable shape, and the fingers of 670 members seem to be rusted sewing needles. The family unit, collectively referred to as SCP-670, is currently contained in Sector 25, located in England. Members of 670 are to be contained in a shared 12-meter by 6-meter holding cell, observed via surveillance camera. Cell is to contain 4 beds, a bathroom, and an observation window. All staff entering 670's containment area are to be searched for lighters, matches, and other sources of
God.
open flames.
Family, the pinnacle of our humanity. Never take it for granted, as it isn't easily replaced.
As always, have a care.
Why did I have to go into a goddamn life lesson at the end? Alright. Removal of character / license.
I don't know if I should suggest 2 or 3 because they removed an SCP like staff member, but they also, I feel like, removed the identity of the child for a lot of the video.
Yeah.
What would you say, 2 or 3?
I guess 3.
Okay.
Alright. Added gore or violence.
If they didn't basically suggest the child dies every time he's fixed, it would have been a 0, but they did, and now I have to suggest 4.
Yeah.
They were so close to a 0 on violence!
Yep. Deviates from the plot of the article.
2? They removed a character and they only changed one part of the story, but they did cut
Yeah.
some stuff out and change. Yeah, it's a 2.
I'm not sure if you can hear it, but Busta's snoring.
Aww,
He's talking in his sleep.
that's adorable.
Yeah. And, only made in a
Or-
video / offensiveness. Okay.
They changed the skin to a color that is not clay.
True.
If they didn't want to make it black people, they could have made them have gray skin. There's a such thing as neutral clay colors that are natural clays. They didn't want red or brown. They could have picked gray, but they picked a color of clay that only exists if you either paint the clay, which they never mention it being covered in any amount of paint, or also, if it's not painted, where did the color on the lips come from?
True.
So it's just too racist. Why are they racist against doll people? What the fuck is the world coming to? Okay.
You're
I'm
right,
sorry for
Jerry.
doing a weird rant of upset against their racism against dolls.
You're fine. Okay, here we go. Here's the first one where they did it, where they took away the nickname. And the nickname, they say in their video, it's, if you see this boy, run. However, the nickname for this next anomaly is additional baggage fee.
What?
Yep. Entirely two different nicknames. But the
Yeah.
same number. Oh shit, it's made by Captain Kirby. They made it actually really good at SCP stories. Alright. It also seems to be another plain one. So yeah, Danger Noodles, if you can tell, yeah, they started changing the actual nickname to the anomalies. To something else entirely.
Can I get a snack very quick? Because I feel like
Yeah.
whatever they do to this SEC will hurt me.
Yeah, that's fair. Go ahead and get your snack. I'll be here with Bookworm.
I'll be right back.
Yeah.
You okay, Spoon?
The cum bucket. Everyone, this is my favorite place to go to. That's why I get pregnant so many times. I keep forgetting about that alert. Anyways, hello, Pudgy Hedgehog, how are you? Thank you for the raid. Sure, I spelled that correctly. Yeah. How are you? Yeah. Yeah, I'm good. Sounds like fun. Yeah, we're just basically fighting against content farms of SCPs. And dying from brain rot. Dying severely of brain rot. Wait, why is it on my phone that it showed it the two shoutouts to Butchie Hedgehog, but on my computer says one? What? 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 I guess on mobile you get two. And we're just waiting for the other person to come back from getting no schnuck. So how is everyone today? How is everyone today in here and hopefully not dying from brain rot?
Okay.
Ah,
Sorry. I also have to pee.
I got you. You back?
Yeah.
Alright. Additional baggage fee, aka SCP-3767. Item: SCP-3767. Object Class: Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. Personnel embedded in United Airlines are to discourage, disrupt, and sabotage all attempts to overbook flights from Newark to Houston. Should an overbooked flight depart, Foundation personnel are to detain all passengers and administer Class B amnestics before allowing them to disembark. Should personnel locate an individual not on the original flight manifest, they are to be detained and directed to a nearby Foundation site for further containment. Experimentation requiring overbooked flights may be scheduled under approval from 3767 Project Head. Description: SCP-3767 refers to an anomalous phenomenon that occurs on overbooked United Airlines flights from Newark, New Jersey to Houston, Texas. 3767 occurs approximately 20 minutes after the airplane reaches cruising altitude. The onset is indicated by a change in the color of the sky, as it will appear to take on a dark shade of purple. The change is only apparent from the inside of the plane, as outside observers have confirmed that the sky itself maintains its original color. This begins at the horizon and spreads upwards. Once the sky has changed colors entirely, the plane stops at all traditional movement and enters a slow free fall. The process takes approximately 10 minutes to change entirely, and generally remains slower than 1 meter per second for a slowed free fall. During this ascent, the plane remains parallel to the ground and the sky appears to glow red. At this point, a feminine voice with a British accent will speak through the plane's speaker system. This voice will declare that an extra passenger is on board and is weighing down the plane. The voice then states that this extra passenger must be removed in order for the plane to regain lift. Video procured during testing shows that an additional passenger is indeed on board. It is unknown at what point this individual appears. After an individual has been removed from the plane, free fall will cease and the pilot will return the plane to cruising altitude. Ejecting this individual from the plane does not cause the cabin to undergo decompression. As the plane ascends, the sky will return to its original color. Searches of the area where the ejected individual was predicted to land have failed to locate said individual. Passengers aboard the flight are able to recall the events that take place during 3767 only when prompted. However, they are unable to comprehend the abnormality of the event. In 78% of the recorded cases, the passengers collectively decide on an individual to remove, who is then ejected from the airlock. In 21% of the cases, an individual removes themselves from the plane. In 63% of cases, one passenger on the original manifest will be reported as missing after the event, despite the same number of people getting on and off the plane. Addendum: SCP-3767-1 on May 10th, 2016, the Foundation sent D-3114 to observe 3767 on Flight 3552. When D-3114 landed, all individuals on the original manifest were accounted for. 3767 proceeded as normal until the passengers decide who to eject from the flight. For brevity, the following transcript begins immediately after an announcement was made that an additional passenger was on board the flight. All footage was taken from D-3114's camera, which was planted as part of his jacket. Begin log. D-3114 is sitting in his aisle seat. The man in the next seat over has fainted. The majority of the passengers quietly murmur among themselves. A small child can be heard crying from behind D-3114. A number of additional passengers appear traumatized as well. Others move about the cabin to either reach their luggage or talk to others. D-114. Here we go. D-3114 says. Well, you heard the voice, right? Cabin goes silent, save for the crunching noise. After the pause, a woman here wearing standard business attire. Passenger A stands and addresses D-314. Passenger A. You're suggesting we actually throw someone overboard? Do you have any better ideas? Are you insane? Trust me, lady. That's so much weirder than this. You are insane. Please sit down, and we'll get you help as soon as we land. I'm not insane. A man in casual clothing, Passenger B, stands as well. Passenger B. Are we even going to survive a landing if this keeps up? I mean, I don't know, but you can look outside. Might not feel like it in here, but we're moving pretty fast. Sure, but I'm just saying that, well, it's a sort of a numbers game. I guess you have a point. Besides, if it doesn't work, then we would all be fucked anyways. That is the spirit. Passenger A clears at D-3114. Okay, so yeah. Everyone go to your seats. Like whatever it says on the ticket, we will narrow it down to 2 people. Passengers reorganize themselves and take their seats. The cabin is silent again, except for a soft-crunching noise. One person left in without a seat is a young child. Passenger C. Little kid, what is your seat? Passenger C approached D-314 and points to his seat. Tough luck, kiddo. This one's mine. Also, who here is 18-something? Look at you know this little boy. Wait, who says you aren't the extra passenger? Good point. Do you have anyone to vouch for you? Of course, I've got. D-3114 turns to the seat next to him. The man sitting there is still unconscious. Hey, hold it up. Anyone else? D-3114 looks at the seats across the aisle. Passengers look away from him. You guys don't really think that. You're making a lot of sense, too. You could have been trying to trick us by actively misleading our search. What then? I've done quite a shitty job, haven't I? I never said you were smart. Whoa, let's calm down a sec. Passenger B walks to passenger C and kneels so he can look passenger C in the eye. Are your mom and dad on board? Passenger C shakes his head. Where are they? They said they would pick me up. My grandma brought me here, but couldn't come with. Do you have any luggage with you? Passenger C points to the overhead compartment. Passenger B opens it and pulls out a Spider-Man themed suitcase. That's it. Passenger C nods. How did that even get up there? He helped me. Points at an unconscious man next to D-3114. Madman, you have any luggage? Don't call me that, bitch. Again, we don't need this. Right. D-3114 reaches below the seat in front of him and pulls out a backpack. Here. Well, no shit. The cabin is silent for 30 seconds. Then a number of passengers start shouting and pointing fingers. A fight begins. After 4 minutes, a passenger hits D-3114's camera and transmission is lost. End log. The flight landed on time and all passengers exited the plane. Inspection of D-3114's camera showed no malfunction. When questioned about the conclusion of the argument, D-3114 failed to recall any specifics. 2 days later, the Foundation received reports of an aircraft matching a plane from Flight 3552 appearing in Cherokee National Forest, Tennessee. The plane itself was largely undamaged, but all passengers inside had expired from blunt trauma that would be caused by impacting the ground at terminal velocity. All passengers from the original manifest were present, as well as an additional unidentified male child. Autopsy of this individual showed that its insides consisted of partially eaten pretzel snacks, airplane safety cards, and emergency flotation devices. X-ray scans of the living D-3114 in Foundation custody yielded similar results. Okay, so if you don't send someone out, everyone gets replaced, and the non-replacements die.
Yeah.
Wow.
The best DP.
Yeah, but this looks like it's like the easiest for the Foundation to handle, because then you can just cancel all flight trips from this location to this location. It's
They
never
really
happened.
can't.
Huh?
They really can't.
They can't?
Well, think of a stir it would cause to cancel all flights.
Delta did this all the fucking time when I flew. I'm sorry.
Mm.
What the fuck?
What?
I just saw the thumbnail when I put it on stream.
Oh.
Hold on, Discord is taking forever. There it goes. Discord. Thank you.
That's a 4.
Yep. Bookworm, what do you think about this? Now we have to remember, they took away the nickname of the actual article, which means they're probably gonna go...
Weird.
Yeah. Interesting, though. Yeah. Oh my gosh, they have it here! Welcome back. That Professor Lucius Field's SCP Foundation Euclid class object. SCP-3767 additional baggage fee. But they took... But what? Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I wanted to see if there was a license for the picture, but there's no license down here. So I guess we'll have to assume there's not. We ready?
Yeah.
The lightning and thunder had seemingly come out of nowhere. The sky had changed to purple, and seemingly now, to a shade of blood red. The plane took an unexpected dip. Odd, since they had only just reached cruising altitude. He heard the familiar sound of the PA system.
Ladies and gentlemen, we appear to have an extra passenger aboard. We are over our weight capacity and cannot maintain altitude. A passenger will have to be removed.
He looked around the plane. The passengers looked nervously from one to another, nobody willing to say what was now in all their minds. Somebody would have to be thrown off. He pulled open his shirt to reveal the orange jumpsuit underneath and his ID.
Wait, D-6209. If we go back here, D-3114.
The wrong D class.
Yep.
number. If they knew what a D-class was, he was sure to be the first one tossed out. Better keep that to himself, he thought. An orange jumpsuit was never a good thing to reveal. He awoke with a start. What happened? Had he fainted? His head hurt. He saw a man and woman yelling at each other. Angry passengers were yelling and pointing at each other. The cabin suddenly changed color and a siren rung out. He felt a gust of wind in his face. He stood up and looked towards where the wind had come from. A man stood at the cabin door. He had managed to somehow open it. That wasn't right. That should have been impossible. Not only that, but besides the wind, the cabin hadn't depressurized. He could still breathe.
It looks like
This
depressurizing.
was the SCP at work. The man was holding a boy by the shoulders now. He was going to throw him out. He got up and ran towards the door. Welcome back. Today I bring you SCP-3767. Additional baggage fee. Please join my Patreon in the links.
Now,
Sir, SCP.
No.
did they make 173 Mexican? And you're not allowed to use that depiction of 173 anyways. Oh my god.
He spotted. Requesting permission to engage.
Negative. Fall back and wait for backup.
I couldn't make that out. Permission to engage.
I repeat, do not
Is this an
engage.
ad?
That SCP is immune to gunfire.
Yes, it is.
Backup is en route. Fall back.
I can't hear you. Sir. Sir.
You're on the go and you need the best? Look for Raycon.
What happened next?
Next?
Yeah.
I
You're
don't
right,
remember,
Bookworm.
really.
Did he throw the boy out?
I don't think so.
Come on. You must remember more than that. Did someone else get thrown out?
All I remember is landing. Like, everything just seemed fine.
He shrugged his shoulders. Klaus rubbed his chin.
You mentioned a lapse in memory.
Yeah, I guess I fainted or something.
That's when the camera stopped as well. Back to your cell for now. We'll let you know if there's anything else. You think he's telling the truth?
Yeah, he hasn't lied before.
Before? This is the first time we've used that D-class.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what I mean. This time, he didn't seem to be lying. Klaus looked closely at Chen, then smiled.
Right, exactly. He seems trustworthy. I mean, as far as a D-class can be trusted. Right, Chen?
Yeah, precisely. Never can trust those D-classes, eh?
Bring a sample from the flight and meet me at Pythia's.
Roger that.
I'm not sure. Can't quite put my finger on it.
Has there been any other signs?
Nothing obvious, but in hindsight, I'm starting to question it. I'm starting to question myself even. It was so long ago. Did I use Class D amnestics? Class F?
Perhaps it's just in your head, your own guilty conscience.
Who's got a guilty conscience now? Klaus? Yeah, you definitely should. Don't think I've forgotten what you did to that kid. Or that guy with the ticks.
Jen! Pythia and I were just, chatting. What the hell is that?
You asked for something from the plane.
Yeah, you know, a safety card or a napkin.
Bigger's better, right?
Never one for subtlety, dear Chen.
Look, you want me to take it back? Because I will, and you can all wait another hour for me to come back.
No, just bring it over here, please. It'll work just fine.
Well, that's more like it.
Oh my
He
god.
dragged the chair across the floor to Pythia.
You cretin! Can you be careful, please? You're scratching up my floors.
This is not your floor. Your floor is in there, with the dirt, the worms, and the deer poop everywhere. That's your floor.
Why do I bother? Just put it there.
Chen set the chair down in front of her.
All right, who's ready for a little plane ride?
They were on board the flight. From the looks of it, the announcement that a passenger would need to be removed had just been made. The passengers looked back and forth between each other. They saw the D-class sitting in his seat. The man behind him stood up and slammed the back of his laptop into the D-Class's head. He slumped over.
What did you do that for?
It wasn't on purpose. It was an accident.
Well done, you've killed him.
Don't be ridiculous. He'll be fine. Sir, are you okay?
He's unconscious, you fool.
Don't call me a fool. Anyway, well, I did us a favor, didn't I?
What?
You heard the announcement. Someone needs to get off. He looks as good as any.
Vile.
Well, how do you propose we decide then?
Decide? The whole idea is preposterous.
Then can you explain why we're descending? Someone needs to get off this plane, now.
The passengers looked at each other, no one willing to volunteer.
The announcement said an extra passenger is on board. Presumably, since we were able to take off and reach this height, they came on board mid-flight.
The male passenger nodded.
The SCP is already in effect. Clearly, nobody is questioning the absurdity of someone getting on the plane in mid-flight.
So, let's all take our seats. We'll have it narrowed down to 2 then.
The man nodded in agreement as everyone slowly sat down. He went to take his seat when he saw a small boy standing next to him.
Where's your seat, son?
The boy pointed at his seat.
That's my seat. Where's yours?
The boy looked blankly at him.
Are your parents on the flight?
The boy shook his head.
Well, looks like we found our culprit, haven't we?
The boy.
Trying to blame a child. Seems about right. I think you're the one that doesn't belong here.
Me? I'm the only one who is willing to even discuss this issue.
Yeah, good job at misdirection.
Don't you try to turn this around on me.
The other passengers started to stand up.
You just knocked that guy out. Why? Maybe because he knew the boy was here, and you just appeared? Anyone recognize this guy?
I don't remember seeing him during
They
boarding.
changed the D
The man
class.
looked nervously between the two, then rushed for the cabin door, dragging the boy along with him. The D-Class woke up. He threw the cabin door open.
And now he's unconscious guy, while the random guy is the one who's the weird one out.
Yeah.
Possible. And no depressurization either.
He pulled the child in front of him.
It's the kid. It's not me.
The D-Class got up from his seat and ran towards the man and the boy, slamming into them and throwing them all to the ground. Another passenger came from behind and grabbed the door, pulling it shut.
Let's just all calm down.
Prepare for impact.
The D-Class got up and looked out the window. That doesn't make any sense. They landed. The D-Class is with us.
Let's go back to the office. I need to make so many inquiries. Thank you, Pythia.
Chen and Klaus rushed out of her room.
Commandeering a satellite. Okay. Let's check the flight path. No heat blooms.
What about the black box?
What about it?
You're looking for a missing flight, though the flight landed and is accounted for.
Correct.
No fires showing up along the flight path and surrounding areas.
Correct again.
So, let's check for the black box signal. Maybe something interesting will show up.
Fair enough.
Klaus entered the FAA tracking system.
Okay, so we got a signal from the airport, as expected.
Okay, but what's that?
It looks like an address conflict.
What's an address conflict?
It's what happens when two devices are sharing the same ID. We've got duplicate signals from two boxes, but from one supposedly unique ID.
Where's the second box located?
It's showing up in the mountains along the flight path. Re-aiming the satellite now.
Klaus focused the satellite onto the intended location, revealing a mostly intact plane, identical to the plane that had landed.
What?
On location, sir. Ready to enter the aircraft.
Proceed.
The agents entered the aircraft. It was dark and quiet. They turned on their flashlights and proceeded through the aircraft. Everyone was dead.
Sir, we found your man.
It was the D-Class. He was dead.
This just gets stranger and stranger.
You haven't seen the half of it, sir.
I don't get it. What happened to that kid?
That wasn't a kid. That was the SCP. He manifested onto the plane, or from the plane to be more exact. D-Class, are you ready? lay down. I'm starting the scan now.
So it was the kid all along. The big guy was innocent.
Yes.
But if the kid was the SCP, and the whole plane went down, killing everyone on board, who landed at the airport? Floss pointed at the scan monitors.
Who or what?
SCP-3767 refers to an anomalous phenomenon that occurs on overbooked United Airlines flights from Newark, New Jersey to Houston, Texas. 3767 occurs approximately 20 minutes after the airplane reaches cruising altitude. The onset is indicated by a change in color of the sky, as it will appear to take on a dark shade of purple. This begins at the horizon and spreads upwards. Once the sky has changed colors entirely, the plane stops all translational movement and enters a slowed freefall. During this descent, the plane remains parallel to the ground, and the sky appears to glow red. At this point, a feminine voice with a British accent will speak through the plane's speaker system. This voice will declare that an extra passenger is on board and is weighing down the plane. The voice then states that this extra passenger must be removed in order for the plane to regain lift. Video procured during testing shows that an additional passenger is indeed on board. It is unknown at what point this individual appears. After an individual has been removed from the plane, freefall will cease and the pilot will return the plane to cruising altitude. Ejecting this individual from the plane does not cause the cabin to undergo decompression. As the plane ascends, the sky will return to its original color. Searches of the area where the ejected individual was predicted to land have failed to locate said individual. Passengers aboard the flight are able to recall the events that take place during 3767, but only when prompted. However, they are unable to comprehend the abnormality of the event. In 78% of recorded cases, the passengers collectively decide on an individual to remove, who is then ejected through the airlock. In 21% of cases, an individual removes themselves from the plane. See Addendum SCP-3767-1 for details on the remaining case.
What?
In 63% of cases, one passenger on the original manifest will be reported as missing after the event, despite the same number of people getting on and off the plane.
Humans are intelligent creatures,
Wait.
but beware.
Cheery. Hold on, where is it? Where do they talk about that? Let's see. Where did they talk about the addendum? Yeah, they read see addendum SCP-3761-1 for details on the remaining case, and don't talk about the addendum.
Yeah. They replaced the addendum with their own story.
Yeah. Alright. Removal of character / license.
They did remove a character.
Yeah, it removed one.
Actually, technically, let's... They also technically replaced passenger A and passenger B, since passenger A was in business attire.
And
The lady in the video was not in business attire. Maybe we could say they didn't replace passenger B, but
yeah.
it feels like they did with how they modified things.
Yeah. Yeah, I see what you mean.
So they basically removed most of the characters with their own version.
Plus, we have to think about they changed the nickname of the article.
It's a 4.
Yep. Alright, added gore or violence.
Weirdly, I think it's kind of like a 0 or a 1.
Yeah, they really didn't add any more that wouldn't already be there. Well, actually, maybe one, because when they open a door, like, the things drop down and, like, the error sign was flashing.
Yeah.
So, like, 1.
Yeah.
Because that one happened. Alright. Deviation reply of the article.
A 3, I think, because they deviated
Yeah.
so much, but they also kept some of it.
Yeah. Alright. Only men and video/slash offensiveness. No.
Weirdly, I don't think they did anything offensive.
Yeah, I don't think so either. They kept all the women in video too.
Yeah.
First time in a while is 0.
Yeah.
45%.
Nice! When was the last time we got rated 45?
45. Well, last time we got 45. SCP-531.
It's a long while back.
Yeah. Alright, let me make sure. Okay, before we go in here, I think this might be one of the other ones where they put the wrong nickname. Let me make sure.
Oh.
Let's see, 93. Yep, they put down "Don't open this gift on your birthday" when its actual nickname is the Birthday Monkey. This is actually one of my favorites. It's how fucked up it is. It can get. Not including the ad for that one. We don't, I mean, I'm not adding ads into the rubric.
What happened?
I was telling Booker I'm not adding ads in the rubric because they're just making money that way and we just skip it anyways, so it's not really a problem. I meant for an offensive
Oh yeah, I forgot to add. I guess we need to add like at least 1 or 2 points because I put the statue in Mexican clothing.
Alright, fair. Guess we can put a 1, which means but like at 40%.
Still really good.
Yeah. Alright. Yeah, this is still one of my favorites because it can get really fucked. It can be really fucked. Are we ready?
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Item SCP-983. Object Class Safe. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-983 is completely safe so long as technicians handily do so on any day other than their birthday. Should 983 be presented to or handled by any individual on the yearly anniversary of their birth, they should immediately follow the sing-along guidelines contained in Emergency Kit 135R located next to the door. So next to the door to 983's containment chamber. In the event the target individual fails to meet sing-along requirements, their remains are to be disposed of through standard methods. In the event of the targeted individual meets the sing-along requirements, the following pieces of data are to be collected: age, color of candy collected, singing accuracy obtained by the best judgment of those present, and the number of verses that pass before acknowledgement by 983. No candy obtained from 983 is consumed by any staff without senior staff approved containment procedures in place and written waivers. filed and stamped by the consumer. This requirement is waived by the case of Class D candy testing. Description: SCP-983 is a vintage mechanical monkey with a faded date located on the bottom of the left foot, placing its manufacture at some point in the 1940s by an unknown person or company. The monkey is dressed in the remains of what used to be a popular vest designed for circus ringmasters. In the monkey's left hand, there is a lightly tarnished brass bell. In the right hand, the monkey holds a small brass striking rod. The monkey is capable of emitting speech and sound, although examination of the object has revealed no seams, screws, or openings that would indicate a method of disassembly. SCP-983 is completely harmless and inert under most circumstances and may be handled without special precautions so long as the handler is not experiencing the 24-hour period considered the anniversary of their birth. Once 983 physically comes into contact with an individual on their birthday, it will spring to life and do a single backflip before raising its bell and singing a simple song. A ring ding ding ding, it's your birthday! This single verse will be followed by the monkey striking its bell, producing a tone that varies in pitch from quite high to rather low. 983's singing was found to be vary slightly in pitch as well as, but maintained a very excited and happy tone. 983 will sing this song once every 3 to 4 seconds, pausing only to ring its bell until the new owner has died or met the sing-along requirements, which as of yet are not completely understood but are believed to be based in timing the sing-along properly with 983. Each verse sung by 983 appears to age the owner of the item by what is estimated at 1 year. By singing along with 983, the owner may deactivate the monkey, which, once done successfully, results in a triumphant declaration of birthday from 983, at which time it will ring its bell once and produce a single gumdrop style candy from the bell. The approach of singing along with 983 has direct impact on the color of the candy and the side effects of its consumption. Test groups instructed to follow document 135R to the letter have verified that a perfect sing-along results in the production of crystal clear candy with mildly luminescent qualities. A near-perfect sing-along procedures, the sing candy minus the luminescence. Both of these candy types have been varied as restoring any age lost by the consumer due to 983 song. However, the luminescent candy may also grant additional time in youth, though as of yet this theory is unproven due to the low production rate of this candy. Due to the inconsistencies in attitude, tone, behavior, and approach when trying to match 983's song to a wide variety of candies have been reproduced. Under absolutely no circumstances are black candies allowed to be consumed, although other colors may be consumed pending prior approval and containment arrangements. The initial activation of 983 was in highly uncontrolled environment, so retelling is the best record available of the incident. Subsequent tests of interest in more controlled environments have been attached to this document as well as candy effects for those experiments. SCP-983 First Activation. 983 was purchased from a local flea market intended as a gift for a monkey admirer as a joke. The seller of the monkey warned the purchaser that it was to be seen and never touched by anyone on the day of their birth, but was unable to give exact reason why, saying that it was a warning past them that was well observed that have been, not saying that word, legend of, or some other bullshit. Upon the birthday of 983's intended new owner, the gift was unwrapped and the monkey handled, at which point it sprang into song. Staff attending the birthday party of their co-worker were amused, as was the recipient at first. However, witnesses state that the recipient became more and more agitated the longer the monkey sang. After 10 estimated verses, the recipient tried to find a way to turn the device off, to no avail. Denise at this state that this time several persons noted streaks of silver within the recipient's hair. Following an estimated 8 to 10 more verses from 983, the gray was quite pronounced, as were signs of wrinkling or stress on the recipient's face. Within 5 more verses, the recipient returned to the monkey to rest and complained of not having the strength to deal with this nonsense, pleading for someone to turn it off. With 983 not being fully realized as a potentially dangerous object, there was a panic and sloth in the reactions of the attendant staff, which led to 983 being able to complete what can only be estimated at 30 or perhaps 40 more verses before a containment crew could arrive at the party locale. By this point, the recipient had long since expired due to aging, leaving only a skeletal frame remaining in his chair with the skin clinging to it. With confusion on how to approach 983 safely, it was allowed to sing for roughly another minute before it ceased of its own accord. At which point, nothing remained of the original recipient other than its purely skeletal remains. 983's final verse consisted of the single word, "birthday," which it announced joyously before doing a single backflip and ringing its bell once. From the bell fell a single candy resembling a gumdrop pure black in color. This candy was never consumed. It was described as being moderately entrancing, drawing a person's gaze into it until an outside source distracted them. With the number of individuals at the scene and a general chaos involving incident, no single person was able to become too focused on the candy and was safely contained. SCP-983 Controlled Activation Number 32. During test number 32, regarding 983.1 test subject redacted, volunteered for testing as her birthday had approached, and she displayed qualities unique in comparison to previous test subjects, specifically in an exceptionally upbeat and excited approach to her birthday. Redacted is referred to as the subject for the remainder of this test. Without explanation as to what to expect, the subject was given 983 as a wrapped present, with the prior warning that this object sings and it would make for a great birthday video if she were to sing along with it. The subject displayed glee and acceptance of 983 as a suitable gift when it was unwrapped and required no guidance in singing along with the object as it began. The subject went above and beyond in singing requirements, missing only the first verse to get the words and picking up immediately at the second and continuing for a total of 45 verses for a total of 46 completed. During the singing process, she displayed the expected aging process with each verse that passed, but displayed no loss of energy or enthusiasm in continuing the songs till their end. She did remain completely unaware of her body's physical state throughout the experiment. Upon completion of the final verse, 983 announces the finale as expected, with stating "birthday" loudly and performing a single backflip, following by a ringing of its bell. The candy produced from the bell was recorded as being vibrant white color with vaguely luminescent properties. Subject noted it was the most beautiful confectionery that they had ever seen, and observing staff has also noted admiration for the gumdrop. In keeping with the control of the experiment, the subject was allowed to consume the candy. Upon finishing the candy, following a 1-hour period of monitoring, there was no indication that any side effect occurred from consumption. With the experiment about to be declared finished, the subject asked to leave and was excused from the testing area, at which point she exploded with blinding light that she damaged the cameras and monitoring the equipment and left all attendees blind for 5 minutes following the burst. System personnel who rushed to the scene described the faint lingering light that remained for at least 2 minutes in the place where the subject stood before it faded out. The subject has not been located since this experiment, and unusually high electromagnetic activity has been noted within the area that it was used for testing. Placement for light fixtures within this area is also worsened approximately 70% from the norm throughout the other areas of study. However, no decrease in lighting has been reported in any area affected by this anomaly. So yeah, that's one of my favorite anomalies because of how fucked it is.
That's definitely a dark SCP. It's a lot of bright color.
Yeah, and it's a clickbait thumbnail.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's clickbait. That has nothing to do with SCP in any way whatsoever.
Yeah. 4. Wait till we get to the point where they start doing clickbait thumbnails. Alright, let's see. Did they... Well, they put birthday monkey in description, but not in the title. And I do have the license. Alright, everyone ready?
As ready as I'll ever be.
And 3, 2, 1.
Are you sure you must have this one?
What?
Please, how about this toy instead?
Oh my god.
I'm told it's very popular amongst the young children.
Is this gonna be racist
Or
against
perhaps this
non-white
one.
people?
Yes.
As you wish. But a warning. It is cursed. It was given to me many moons ago by a traveler, and has brought only pain and suffering. If you must have it, just be sure that no one who has a birthday
How
is
did
near
they
it.
make him all racist?
Don't worry
It
about it.
wasn't even racist before. It was just old fucking stories.
Yeah.
24 hours before or after. Heed my warning.
Welcome back. Today I bring you SCP-983, the
I
birthday
shouldn't be
monkey.
surprised
Don't forget
with
to like and
the history of the SCP. It was probably far too easy to add racism in, so I should have expected it.
subscribe and check out my Patreon.
Happy birthday, son! I know it's a little early, but there was no way I was going to be able to hide these from you all night, right?
The boy nodded excitedly.
Now, don't rush through it. Be sure to read the cards and write down who gave you what, okay? There are gifts here from us, your grandparents, Bobby next door, and even Nanny Joyce.
The father set the toys down in front of the gleeful boy.
Happy birthday, buddy.
The boy smiled
Wait,
back
I have
as
an
he tried to
instrument
decide
wrong. That looked like a flute.
which present to open
Did I
first.
see that wrong?
The boy looked at the assortment of gifts before him. Outside his door,
Oh, wait.
Nanny Joyce walked past.
Now you behave yourself, you hear?
The boy frowned and nodded back slowly. He turned his attention back to the gifts before him. So much to choose from. Where to start? A ring-ding-ding.
Oh,
No, it's not a flute. It's the national ringer.
yeah, I'm not sure why I saw a flute earlier.
It's your birthday. How cute, he thought to himself. It was a little old-fashioned and vintage for his likes, but it sounded amazing nonetheless. The parents stood by the countertop, talking and drinking. Their son was growing up to be quite the thoughtful and kind little man. The past few years had been trying. Job terminations, a miscarriage, and moving to a new city had all taken their toll. And now, with a new baby on the way, they felt somewhat divided.
You know, you really shouldn't be drinking. Think about the baby.
She scoffed and looked away. He hoped the new child would turn things around for them.
What?
Despite their marriage difficulties, Nanny Joyce had been a blessing. God
Why
knows
did
she already
they
helped
have
out
this
so much,
pointless
and with a new
marriage
baby on the way, she'd be needed more than ever. They all looked up Startled, the sound had come from upstairs. They rushed towards the bedroom, dreading what could have happened. They threw the bedroom door open. All that remained of their son was a skeleton.
Oh dear God!
Technically, it causes a rapid aging, so the skeleton would be taller.
Get me up to speed, Doc. What do we got?
I've only got the bare bones on this one, but it was enough for the higher-ups to send us out. A kid turned into a skeleton.
Any witnesses?
He was in his bedroom alone when it happened. Seemed he had only been alone for a few minutes.
Last person to see him alive?
The father.
How long ago did this go down?
About 2 hours ago. That's really all we have to go on. You ready to investigate, Watson?
Who?
Watson. Sherlock Holmes' assistant?
Did you just call me your assistant?
No, I mean, yes, but there was more about being Sherlock. Whatever, never mind.
The parents sat on the couch. The father, clearly distraught. The mother sipped her glass of wine, seemingly either drunk or numb to the situation. Behind them stood the nanny, her eyes red from crying.
I'm terribly sorry for your loss.
There's a weird amount of sexism aimed at the mom specifically, and I dislike it.
Yeah, well, one of the things that they said earlier, she was pregnant, and she's drinking wine.
Well, yeah, they also had her literally holding the as she was running towards possibly her son's death.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to drink wine while pregnant.
No, you're not, but I feel like the bigger issue is the child that's already born. Why would she be holding onto a glass of wine if she's worried about him?
Right.
If it's all right, I'd like to ask you some questions.
Yes, of course.
I understand that you were the last person to see your son alive.
Yes.
Can you think of any reason someone would try to kill your son?
No, of course not. He was just a child. He was very sweet and kind to everyone who knew him.
I understand. Had there been any changes in his personality lately?
No, not really. Perhaps a little more withdrawn as of late. We've only recently moved here, but he's always been a bit shy.
I see. Any other changes in his or your life?
Well, I lost my job shortly before we moved. We had a miscarriage about a month ago, so Nanny Joyce has been helping out more than before. We also just found out we're pregnant again, but we hadn't had a chance to even tell him yet.
I see. What about strangers? Did he speak of anyone or come home with anything obscure?
No, I don't think so. What do you mean obscure things?
Items, out of the ordinary type things, like gifts?
Oh, well, it was his birthday today. He had a bunch of new toys.
His birthday? Where are these new toys?
In his bedroom.
Okay. Please stay here while we have a look.
They stepped into the bedroom. The skeleton sat behind the toys, as if guarding them. Klaus looked over the various objects and items.
Anything look odd to you?
Nothing too weird, but that monkey does kind of stick out.
Right? It looks old. It doesn't fit in with anything else in here.
What's that? Chen pointed towards the black candy on the floor.
Don't touch it. Let's pack it up and take it back with us.
They came back into the living room.
We've taken some items from your son's room to investigate, as well as the body. It won't take long, so these men will keep you safe while we get to the bottom of this. I'll have to ask you to remain here until we return.
The father nodded his head. Klaus looked over the boy's skeleton. The other items they had taken from the house besides it.
I don't know.
Any clues?
Not really, but perhaps a lead. The skeleton is, well, a skeleton. The toys haven't done anything strange, and there's that odd black candy.
Anything weird about it?
Well, that's just it. It's not testing for anything. Like it's not made of anything.
Anomalous.
Yeah, but what does it do?
Probably turns you into a skeleton?
Perhaps. Only one way to find out.
The door opened, A
We
deep
don't
flash
know
stood
what it
behind
does.
Well, that confirms it, Sherlock.
Elementary, my dear Watson.
I'm thinking that candy came from the monkey?
It was near it, and it didn't fit with the rest of the toys. That's probably our SCP.
Case closed, Dr. Holmes.
Not quite, Dr. Watson. We still don't know who done it.
Chen and Claus stood before the parents and their nanny once again.
Have you found anything?
We have some ideas.
Ideas? Really? Is that it? You can't just keep us locked up here, you know. These poor people need space to grieve. And so do I.
We'll have this wrapped up in a moment. Please have a seat. Do you know where this candy came from?
I think I saw it fall out of the monkey's bell when we found the skeleton.
Claus turned to Chen. Plan A?
Plan A, Watson.
Chen pulled a small, transparent bag from his pocket. Does this look familiar?
Looks like the candy's in the bedroom.
Correct. If you all wouldn't mind indulging us for a moment, we'd like you all to try one.
What for?
Please, it'll only further the investigation.
This is ridiculous.
Nonetheless, if you would, please.
Chen passed out the candies to the parents and the
They're all gonna die.
They each looked at the candy before them and around the room. It was an odd request, but what harm could it possibly do? The father went first, placing the candy in his mouth. His wife took another sip of her glass and without any reluctance tossed the candy into her mouth. Claus and Chen eyed them, looking for a reaction.
Now you please, Joyce.
Ridiculous. Fine.
She popped the candy into her mouth and chewed. She spat it out on the floor. Take her.
That's your son's killer.
Nanny Joyce? You're mistaken. She would never.
Oh, indeed I would. Look at yourselves. Hopeless. She's a drunk, you're unemployed, and now what? You want to add another child to this? Oh, sure. Nanny Joyce will just pick up the slack.
Why?
If you weren't going to be responsible for this mess, then I sure as hell was.
Take her away.
I can't believe it.
I'm very sorry for your loss. Amnestics! These guys are going to give you a little shot just to calm your nerves. Another anomaly off the streets and into containment.
Quite an odd one.
When you have eliminated all the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth.
My dear Watson.
What the fuck?
SCP-983 is a vintage mechanical monkey with a faded date located on the bottom of the left foot, placing its manufacture at some point in the 1940s by an unknown person or company. The monkey is dressed in the remains of what used to be a popular vest design for circus ringmasters. In the monkey's left hand, there is a lightly tarnished brass bell. In the right hand, the monkey holds a small brass striking rod. The monkey is capable of emitting speech and sound, although examination of the object has revealed no seams, screws, or openings that would indicate a method of disassembly. 983 is completely harmless and inert under most circumstances, and may be handled without special precautions so long as the handler is not experiencing the 24-hour period considered the anniversary of their birth. Once 983 physically comes into contact with an individual on their birthday, it will spring to life and do a single back 35R to the letter. Have verified
Oh wait,
that
what the fuck?
What?
It said OBS disconnected.
Oh.
Did it disconnect? Bookworm?
Oh. I guess that's why it's showing the refresh thing.
It buffered real bad for me.
Video.
It's back now. Okay.
Perfect sing-along results in the production of crystal clear candy with mildly luminescent qualities. A near-perfect sing-along produces the same candy, minus the luminescence. Both of these candy types have been verified as restoring any age lost by the consumer due to 983's song. However, the luminescent candy may also grant additional time and youth. Under absolutely no circumstances are black candies allowed to be consumed.
Never underestimate what people are capable of. Trust must be earned, but with it comes vigilance.
As always, have a care and remember.
Alright. To the rubric. Removal of characters / license. They pretty much wrote a couple characters. And did misnamed it.
I'd have to say it's a 4.
Yeah. Added gore or violence.
Weirdly 4.
Yeah, because we don't know what the black gum truck does.
Yeah, and they added an entire character that knew exactly what it did and wanted to avoid eating black licorice gumdrops because she thought she was going to die.
Yep. Alright. Deviation for the plot of the article.
Yeah.
What?
What?
I said deviation for the plot of the article. What do you think?
I said yeah because it does deviate, but I just don't know how to number it.
Well, it did throw out it did completely change the first activation. It was activated on an adult.
Yeah. They removed the first activation. They never, until the very end, they were doing the data on the SCP, even speak about singing along with it. And instead of having them age until they die if they don't sing with it or meet the requirements, they just turned them into skeletons.
Yeah, as well as the 32nd activation wasn't shown.
Yeah. Yeah, 4.
Yep. Only men / offensiveness.
I feel like it has to be a 4, simply with how they treated the mom.
I'm just glad that they didn't decide to go, oh yeah, we're going to say the G word.
They were still racist against Romani people.
Yeah. Which means we're back to 0% on one of my favorites.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh, here's another one where they didn't include the name. The nickname is Timmy, a popular one.
I'm sorry that on your favorite one, it scored a 0.
Yeah, on the next one.
Racism, sexism, removing characters, changing the plot, adding violence.
Alright, the next one, which is Timmy, but they changed it to Why Am I Becoming a Bird? Alright. Be ready?
Yeah. I've read this one before. Let's read it.
Yeah, so the SCP. I don't think they did 963. But anyways, I'm talking about Professor Lucius. I don't think they did 963. But yeah. Anyways, SCP-1192, aka Timmy. Item SCP-1192. Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-1192 is contained in a dedicated aviary and is being provided a diet of fruit supplemented with protein and vitamin additives, as it refuses to consume seeds and insects that are a part of a normal diet for its species. 1192 is to be provided with several pencils and pages of paper to allow it to communicate. In the case that 1192 becomes belligerent, Mild sedatives may be introduced into its food and water supply under close veterinary supervision. Oh, no, the why am I becoming a bird? Is you fuck off, bookworm. Anyway, description: SCP-1192 is a juvenile male gang cockatoo, a species normally native to southeast Australia, approximately 35.5 centimeters in length. 1192 appears to be sapient and exhibits intelligence and common knowledge consistent with that of a human child between the ages of 6 and 8. 1192 is unusually disheveled as it appears to be unable or unwilling to preen itself and has difficulty flying despite being essentially healthy and uninjured. Close examinations have shown a slight keeled over contusion on the back of 1192's head, but no internal injury or damage was ever found. 1192 was discovered and brought into containment by Agent Redacted, Unredacted, who at the time was embedded as an undercover agent in the Newark Police Department in New Jersey. It is believed at this time that 1192 began following Agent Redacted and trying to attract his attention because of the perception of an authority figure in police uniform. Agent Redacted became suspicious due to 1192's unusual species and erratic behavior and sent a request for assistance. A Foundation containment team was dispatched and was able to detain 1192 and bring it to site Redacted for examination. Addendum 1192-01 Experiment Log 1192-01 Shortly after initial containment, experimentation was performed in which 1192 was introduced to a multitude of objects in a controlled environment in order to deduce its abilities. Upon being introduced to the distinct chamber, 1192 immediately gravitated to a pencil and paper and began to attempt to write crude sentences. At this point, Dr. Redacted was brought in to attempt to communicate with 1192. 1192 writes, "Who are you?" Dr. Redacted: "I am Dr. Redacted. I'm here to speak with you. Who are you?" 1192 writes, "Tempt me," followed by, "Where am I?" "You're not a medical center to me. A hospital. You know what happened to you." 1192 writes, "No. Then I want to go home." "Where do you live to me?" After several minutes and with some difficulty, 1192 manages to write down an address for a residential home in Redacted, Montana. Undercover agents sent to the specified residence determine that the location is inhabited by Mr. and Mrs. Redacted, as well as their son Timothy Redacted, age 7. Agents assigned to monitor the family have noted nothing out of the ordinary with this family thus far. Addendum 1192-02 Research Note. As 1192 is unable to manipulate objects with enough coordination to play with the video games it requested and shows little interest in the other toys we have offered it, it has taken a scribbling and making crude drawings with the materials we have provided. Other notable materials are as follows: several pages of unrelated words presumed to be writing practice. Several pages of crude drawings including race cars, airplanes, and fictional animals and monsters. A single page with the words, why am I a bird?" as well as several more indecipherable sentences. A drawn from what appears to be a small child holding the hands of two adults. The child is scratched out and the paper is ripped. The first side of the page has the words, "I want my mom." A single page with 126 instances of the word mom and 76 instances of the word home. Dr. Redacted, senior observer. Yeah, this one's a sad one.
Yeah, you don't really know what's going on. You can't really know if the bird is what happened because the kid exists, but
Yeah.
the bird has the memories of the kid. You don't really know why.
You're not gonna like the
So-
thumbnail.
Hmm?
You're not gonna like the thumbnail.
Well, I kind of figured that because I've seen someone actually. Oh. Or
Yep.
I've watched someone review this episode. I know I won't like it.
They actually included the license and everything, so that's good. But they wrote down the wrong nickname. Alright, and 3. Oh, wait, hold on. Alright. I love Bookworm's message. Oh, gee, what the fuck? 3, 2, 1.
Did you see that? That ain't normal. Call it in.
The other officer went for his radio. They knew this was something else. No one's head was supposed to glow like that, kid or not. The boy clung to the banister as he watched them.
Just calm down, son. You have an injury. We're gonna get you some help.
He watched them blankly. His parents stood in the distance, unsure what to do. Someone call for backup?
Who the hell are you? We didn't request SWAT, or whatever unit you're from, and just how did you get here so fast?
We were monitoring the initial call. We were already en route when you radioed for backup. We'll take it from here. Please, go wait outside by the van. We've got some...
Why is the woman barely even dressed?
When have they not done that with women?
sedatives to calm your nerves. The policemen walked outside, a look of confusion on their
She's
faces.
not a woman. She's
Are you
apparently a
sure?
prostitute.
Don't worry, we're used to dealing with these situations. Hey, Timothy, you want to come down
I
here?
mean, they're supposed
He
to be
just
a
stared
normal
back.
family, but sure, a normal family living in a mansion where one parent is dressed like a rock star and the other dressed like not like a mom.
Yeah.
Wide-eyed, seemingly unable to understand what Chen was telling him. He pulled out a tranquilizer gun. Do you know what this is? We don't need to use this. If you'll just hop down and come with me. His face was blank. It didn't seem like he could understand him. Chen raised the gun.
No, he's just
Oh
confused.
my god.
Don't worry, this won't hurt him. I promise. As Chen fired the gun, a bird came flying down the stairs. As it went past Chen's head and out the door, he caught sight of something on the back of its head. Anything turning up? Klaus was looking at the MRI scans displayed on the overhead screens.
Not really. It's looking pretty normal.
How about that bump on the back of his noggin?
There is a contusion there, but it seems to be healing, and we're not seeing any signs of long-term damage or anything anomalous.
Odd. The cops said they saw it glowing before I had them amnesticized.
Well, for the moment, I'm not seeing anything.
Klaus hit the receiver.
Thanks, Timothy. That'll be all for now. Agent, can you please take him back to his room? Coffee?
You buying?
Don't I always?
Lead the way, Doc. Chen stirred his coffee.
Oh my
seemingly
god.
Deep in thought.
What is it?
Oh, something's just been bothering me.
Spill it.
The bird. I didn't see the boy's bruise doing anything weird, but I swear there's something strange about that bird.
A hunch.
More like a gut feeling.
Run with it. Let's find that bird.
Yeah, but how?
Check the surrounding areas. A bird like that sounds pretty rare.
Is this hat absolutely necessary?
We're looking for a bird. It's imperative that we blend in.
But we're not bird watchers. This is a public park.
I know. I just haven't had a chance to try out the new hats.
I've really got to get you
Oh
out
my
more.
god.
They surveyed the park, but so far they hadn't been able to spot the
Yes.
bird. There, in the trees.
You sure?
Of course I'm not sure, but it looks the same.
Good enough. Let's go get it.
They walked cautiously towards where the bird was sitting.
Good birdie.
Nice, birdie. Uncle Klaus just wants to talk to you for a bit.
Uncle
I feel
Klaus?
like anything would consider
Really?
that a no-no.
Yeah. Chen
It'd be
needs
like, stranger danger!
yeah. Chen needs to take his boyfriend out on more dates. Says Black.
I agree with Bookworm. Chen needs to take his boyfriend out more so he won't be like a complete fucking idiot on missions.
You wouldn't get it, Chen. It's psychology. To capture the bird, you have to understand the bird. Be the bird. Get inside its head. Only then can you know how to actually catch the bird.
Oh my god, Book.
Oh, yes, Sensei. Be one with the bird. While you're doing that, I just became one with the tranquilizer dart.
Crude, but effective. Wrap him up. Can
I
you
hate that
say
made me laugh.
Klaus? Klaus. Klaus.
I really need to get you out more.
Just engaging with the subject.
Right. Did you find anything?
Have a look at this.
That looks almost identical to the bruise on the back of the boy's head.
Yeah, there's definitely some kind of link here. I'm gonna continue testing the bird, but we'll release the boy to his parents now.
You sure about that?
Yeah, we'll keep him under tight surveillance, but he seems to be acting normally now. The bruise on his head might have been the cause of the strange behavior. A little rest and it might resolve itself. But keep a close eye on things.
Roger that. Timmy seems to be fine. Just a knock to the head. We'll check in again soon. Take care for now. Chen walked away from the house. First shift, you're on. Radio in if you see anything odd. Chen got onto the bike. He rolled up to the Foundation car park. As he dismounted from the bike, an agent came towards him.
Agent Chen, Dr. Klaus is waiting for you in holding cell C4.
Good boy! How about a sunflower seed?
Is that what I rushed over here for?
Come here! Look at this!
Klaus pushed some wooden toys towards the bird. It kicked them away. Wow, that's amazing.
Not that, watch this!
He gave the bird a video game controller. It immediately started to manipulate the buttons.
Look closely. It's not just random. It seems to know how to use a controller.
So it watched the kid playing and copied him?
I don't think so. I've tried this a few times and there isn't a repetitive pattern. It's like he's trying to get it to work.
Have you tried anything else?
Slowly working my way down the list of objects.
The hours passed by as Klaus and Chen offered the bird different objects. They hadn't managed to deduce much, besides that it seemed to like typical objects a child would. This is getting nowhere.
Patience, Chen. Patience.
Yeah. What else is on the list? As he passed the clipboard and pencil to Chen, it slipped and fell to the table. The bird immediately moved towards the pencil, picking it up with his beak and feet. What's it doing?
It looks like it's writing something.
The bird moved back and forth, manipulating the pencil as well as it could. When it was done, it stepped back. Scrawled on the paper were the words, "Who are you?" Chen looked at Klaus in astonishment. Can birds do that?
I don't think so. My name is Klaus, and this is Chen. What's your name?
The bird went back to the paper and started scribbling again. Timmy, where am I? I won my mom. Klaus shot a look at Chen.
You're in a hospital. Can you just wait here for a moment? We'll be right back.
Klaus pulled Chen out of the room. What is it?
The bird. It said its name was Timmy.
What of it?
The boy from the house. His name is Timothy. Coincidence? I don't think so.
So, what does it mean?
I'm not sure. Let's take the bird back to the family and see if anything clicks.
They sat in the van, across the road from the house. Inside, they could see Timothy and his parents in the living room. The bird became immediately agitated.
Let him out.
It went for the pencil and paper and began to draw something. It was a picture. of a young boy holding his parents' hands. Beneath the picture were the words, "Why am I a bird?"
I'm sorry. I don't know what's happened exactly.
It went back to the pencil, writing the words "Mom" and "Home" repeatedly. Timmy flew to the car window and looked out at his home, his parents and himself. He didn't understand what was happening, but all he wanted in the world was to be in there, to be in that house with his parents, to be Timothy once again.
God.
Somewhere, deep inside, Timmy knew that would never happen again. Even if he could somehow become human again, these people, this foundation, they wouldn't allow something like him to be free. He gently raised a foot and drew something onto the fogged up glass, then flew back inside his cage and closed the door. SCP-1192 is a juvenile male gang cockatoo, a species normally native to Southeast Australia, approximately 33.5 centimeters in length. 1192 appears to be sapient and exhibits intelligence and common knowledge consistent with that of a human child between the ages of 6 and 8. 1192 is unusually disheveled, as it appears to be unable or unwilling to preen itself, and has difficulty flying despite being essentially healthy and uninjured.
Even though I had it
Close
fly in the video.
examinations have shown a slight, healed-over contusion on the back of 1192's head, but no internal injury or damage was ever found. 1192 is contained in a dedicated aviary and is to be provided a diet of fruit, supplemented with protein and vitamin additives, as it refuses to consume seeds and insects that are a part of a normal diet for its
That's
species.
true, but
1192 is to be provided with several pencils and pages of paper to allow it to communicate. In the case that SCP-1192 becomes belligerent, mild sedatives may be introduced into its food and water supply under close veterinary supervision. The animals we live with in our homes aren't just pets, they're our family, and we are theirs.
I will say
Never forget that, because one day they won't be there anymore.
Timmy,
I dedicate this video to my African gray parrot. Rest in peace.
Don't know if they share
Oh.
consciousness.
he dedicated this video to his dead parent.
Oh, what?
Yeah, he said he dedicates this video to his dead parent.
Did you say?
What was that? I'll be right
You
back.
are right,
Huh?
Bookworm. The
Huh?
family is normal.
Yeah, family's normal.
You okay, Bright?
Yeah, I just was surprised the fact they dedicated the video to his dead parent. Is all.
Yeah, that is kind of weird.
I mean, I'm sorry for your dead parent, but we're probably still not going to give you a good score.
Probably gonna be a 0.
Yeah, alright. Removal of characters and license, they've removed the name.
They destroyed the name, so the license they kind of peed on. They also...
Agent and the doctor.
The agent, the doctor, they also mixed the bird and child.
Yep. 4. Added gore or violence.
4. Why'd they shoot the bird? Why'd they shoot the child?
Okay. Oh, and that's fair. I always said shared consciousness because the bird Timmy has the memories and ability of Timmy, which is kind of close to sharing consciousness. Yeah, that's fair. Alright. Deviation from the plot of the article.
4.
Yeah, it did change a lot.
It made its own weird plot where Timmy and the bird switched places, even though that's not what happened. We don't know what happened.
Right.
We don't know what happened.
Yeah. And only men in the video / offensiveness.
Oh, they added a weird amount of sexism. Never.
Yeah.
can't they just show a woman being for?
He said 4, alright. So, yeah, but again,
Unless you think it should be lower.
I don't know. What do you think, Bookworm? Should it stay with 4 or lower? For offensiveness.
They didn't need to have boobs in the video. Not at any point. But they basically made the mom a walking boob.
Walking boob.
You saw her dress?
Yeah, we
That's
got
the type of dress where it's basically poking out.
3 or 4 sounds about right. I'm okay with 4. Alright, so 0%. We only got 1 left, Jerry. You ready?
Yeah. This is not another classic SCP, is it?
No, it's 3471. Hold on. I need to make sure they actually got the right nickname. Paint under... Its actual nickname is Paint Under the Bridge, but they called it, if he sees you, it's already too late.
Oh.
But its actual nickname is Paint Under the Bridge.
May I read it?
Sure. Oh, look, they even have the bridge.
Yes, it looks very nice. Looks like any other normal bridge you'd see in a small town.
Yep.
Item SCP-3471, Class Safe. Special Containment Procedures. Due to its close proximity to civilian populations, a covert perimeter around SCP-3471 is to be upheld at all times by a minimum of 3 security personnel under the guise of historical landmark restoration efforts. The individuals attempting to enter the site without authorization from personnel with level 2 or higher clearance are to be apprehended. Paintings received from SCP-3471-1 manifestations are to be kept in object storage lockers 4352 through 4355. Description: SCP-3471 is a cast iron tramway bridge across the river Cynon between Trannon and Robertson, Wales. Oh, it's in Wales. The bridge, constructed in 1811, supports 11.2 meter long deck. Oh, supports a. That's a weird way to put it. Constructed in 1811, supports an 11.2 meter long deck composed of several iron plates, each measuring approximately 3 meters wide. Alongside the absence of wear and tear expected from its age, SCP-3471's iron brackets and trussled support beams display no signs of excessive rust or external damage, appearing to be well maintained despite its limited civilian presence before containment. It is unclear exactly when SCP-3471 began to showcase anomalous properties, though the earliest reports of manifestations date back to 1950 redacted. 50 redacted years following the closure of the tramway. Should any individual attempt to cross 3471 beginning from either side, SCP-347-1 will manifest near the center deck, generally peering over the bridge railing. SCP-3471-1 appears to be an elderly Caucasian man standing approximately 1.8 meters in height and wearing tattered clothing. SCP-3471-1 also displays mannerisms and attributes akin to those affected by significant hearing loss, speaking only through sign language and being aware of sounds made in its vicinity. And each manifestation 3471-1 is accompanied by a standard painting easel, canvas, and a duffel bag. Notably, the aforementioned yet displayed any anomalous properties, all of which materialize near SCP-3471-1 person, though displaying distinguishable facial and bodily features. Attempts to connect 3471-1 to any known individual through facial recognition techniques or similar methods have proven successful. Notice, notably, SCP-3471-1 its materialization position is out of the field view of any individuals present. However, viewing the position through means does not prevent SCP-3471-1's manifestation. Due to SCP-3471-1's apparent hearing loss, subjects crossing SCP-3471 are capable of passing SCP-3471-1 without incident, leading to SCP-3471-1's dematerialization once the end of the deck. Should the crossing individual interaction, 3471-1 initially responds variably, most commonly acknowledging the subject's presence with a greeting and the interaction can continue comparatively to a typical conversation depending on the subject's sign language comprehension. Otherwise, SCP-3471-1 will attempt to relay information through gestures and expressions. Throughout the interaction, 3471-1 the subject and standing in its point of manifestation, making sure to keep the individual from moving from position. If the subject complies with coercions, SCP-3471-1 will step back to the easel and canvas, proceeding to withdraw acrylic paints, paintbrushes, and similar implements from within the accompanying duffel. 3471-1 will paint the subject through differing depictions with each individual. This painting process continues for a varying amount of time, lasting on average 15 or 24 minutes, and painting produced by SCP-3471-1 showcase characteristics of Impressionism art movement. Once the artwork is presumably completed, 3471-1 will back of the painted canvas with a charcoal pencil. The individual receiving the painting tends to interpret the message as related to the impactful events they've experienced. The message is written in the language originally used by the What?
God damn it, OBS.
What happened?
It did it did a 1 second disconnection and reconnection. I cut you off before. No, you're good. I cut you off the second it disconnected.
Oh.
Yeah, I was quick. Okay. God damn it, OBS. There may actually be a
storm. Tell me when I can read again.
Yeah, you can read now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
With little to no consequence, expressing disappointment or understanding. In both cases, once the subject completely crosses SCP-3471, SCP-3471-1 will dematerialize. This SCP was discovered at December 27th, 1950, redacted, following rumors the about through Tracy. Should I just look up how the fuck say that?
If you want to.
Tracy non. I don't know how to. Regarding the benevolent spirit of a painter, town locals provided several possible identities for SCP-3471-1, include the Impressionist painter Period redacted, the deceased town local Dewey redacted, and a Celtic water spirit. These possible identities are still upon further questioning. Town locals referred to it as Highwell redacted, who presumably had interacted. Oh. Town locals refer to a Highwell presumably had 3471-1 the most frequently compared to other residents. Prior to SCP-3471's discovery, Highwell redacted had succumbed to congestive heart failure, dying in his home on November 9th, 1950, redacted. Testing log 3471-231. Subject D5681. Brief background. Shot in the lower abdomen. D-Class 5681 was unable to affect 3471-1 lead action. The painting received depicts D-Class 5681 on SCP-3471, leaning on the railing with his left hand pressed against his abdomen. Message: the world has a funny way of putting things into balance through unpredictable means. Just remember that every action will bring a formidable reaction, no matter how small or significant that action may be. Okay, that's a little dark.
Yeah.
Basically, you deserve to get shot, is that? Okay. Alright, now a test with D-Class 4903. Their brief background is escape from a sinking cruise ship equipped with a pen and a notepad. D-Class 4903 was able to more effectively communicate with 3471-1. Despite this, 3471-1 seemingly limited interaction, quickly gesturing D-Class 4903 towards its manifestation position. Notably, the -1 appeared tense, displaying nervous mannerisms. The painting received depicts the D-Class on the riverbank with feet submerged and SCP-3471 displayed in the background. Message reads, upon water's edge, find place to teeter for even though you are safely planted with your hands in the dirt, you are ever reminded of how easily it fall in. Simply remember to stand back when the water rises. Is that them saying be careful?
Yep.
Less dark than the first one. The next one is D-Class 5172. Their daughter was born during his life sentence, equipped with a pen, notepad, and interview questions. That's dark. Results: with a notepad and pen, the D-Class was able to communicate with SCP-471-1. No relevant information regarding was ascertained from 3471-1, with it once again attempting to limit interaction. The painting received depicts the D class on SCP-3471 with a child resting on his shoulders. Message reads, children are a precious thing of pure innocence and truth, but one cannot always be there for them. Do not be saddened, for more importantly, a wondrous world given the chance to live. That's actually very sweet.
Yeah.
Note, perhaps SCP-3471 is purposely opposed by the D class due to their more antagonistic background. I wouldn't blame it. In any case, I'm calling for a few volunteers from the research staff to participate in the coming tests. From what we've gathered so far, I doubt any of you will be in harm's way, so I better start seeing names on the list. Dr. Coveton. Dr. Coveton, I think. The subject is researcher Eleanor. Brief background. Their father was killed in a double homicide equipped with pen, notepad, and interview. Upon awareness of researcher Massone's presence, SCP-3471-1 displayed more relaxed mannerism, wherein it attempted to elongate the interaction compared to the test. Limited information was garnered regarding the interview question. However, -1 attempted to divert the line of conversations towards stories concerning other individuals that have crossed SCP-3471. The painting received depicts researcher Massone on SCP-3471 peering the water with an older man standing next to reflections. Message reads, death is part of life, coming in many forms and leaving tragedy in its wake, but it is not an end. Though the departed may be gone, their memory still lives on, making them immortal beyond measure.
So far, this isn't a harmful SCP. It's more kind.
It is. No, we're getting it to talk, that's for sure, but it doesn't seem to be entirely comfortable. Forstman, since you know sign language, participate test, perhaps throughout the more direct communication, it will be more compelled to share information. Dr. Coveton. Next subject is researcher Piers. I have no idea the gender of any of the researchers besides the first one. Brief background suggests survived SCP redacted breaches from containment is able to provide interview questions. Are you unable to talk in interaction with an aggressive SCP?
Why isn't this doctor volunteering for this? I want to see that.
What, Dr. Coveton?
Yeah, that's what Bookham said.
Well, Coveton probably doesn't know sign language like Horstman does.
Alright.
As researcher Horstman approached SCP-3471 did not manifest. Instead, a duffel bag, presumably the same bag associated with SCP-3471-1 materialized. Upon further inspection, the bag was found containing painting implements and a leather-bound. Researcher Horstman attempted to recover the bag 3471, but upon reaching the end of the deck, the bag, excluding the journal, dematerialized. -1 failed to materialize with a 3-week period, after which it continued to mature. Attempts to garner information from 3471-1 regarding the absence of the journal have thus far resulted in failure. I don't think they want to talk.
Yeah.
Following the test, 3471-231-05, a leather on SCP-3471. Irrelevant entries have been included. So now we're reading the journal?
You want me to read the journal since they're long?
Okay.
I can do that.
Just try to do it in the thoughts of
An old man?
Well, that's what the SCP looks like, right?
Yes, alright. 17 September 1950. It's strange to be back here again, to be honest. Never thought I'd see this house again. Of course, my sister had to bring this place up with the doctor. Quiet and peaceful and full of memories I want to forget. She is right, though, whether I agree with her or not. She's supposed to be coming here later in the week. Keep an eye on me and make sure I don't die in the middle of the night. The thing's a heart problem it will bring upon you. Still, I have a few days before she gets her mothery hands all over me. She's always been that kind of person, for better or worse. But enough on the future. Something unexpected did happen today. Otherwise, this entry would be rather pointless. I decided to take a walk, breathing in the air, getting all the memories to flow in and now instead of later. On this walk, I came up to that old bridge where the trams used to run when this place had some impact on the rest of the world. There was this old man out on the bridge looking over the railings.
I suddenly do not know the age.
It's fine, I'll still keep it with the voice. He seemed like one of the wistful types, taking in nature and being at peace with the world and all that. I'm not quite sure what came over me, but I felt like striking up a conversation with this complete stranger. And I must say I wasn't very successful. I think the man's deaf was extremely hard of hearing. The fool only realized that I was there when I tapped his shoulder. He does seem nice enough, however. Gave a smile, shook my hand firmly, and got a good uncomfortable look at my face. He tried talking to me in signs, but I don't know any of it. I'm sure he realized that rather quickly. Still, though, it wasn't much of a conversation. It was interesting. Next time I take a walk, I should probably bring a notepad and pen just in case. 18 September 1950 redacted. It hasn't even been an entire day, and I've already having nightmares. I knew eventually they would start, but I did not expect them to occur the night of my arrival. They were quite terrible as well. Visceral, even. Waking up, I could hardly breathe. If they persist, Mara won't ever take her eyes off me, and this place will truly become a living hell. If only none of it ever happened. Perhaps then I'd be able to bear myself. I did do more than wallow in self-pity, however. Surprisingly, most of the food left in the pantry is still decent, if not partially stale. I was able to make myself some breakfast that was fine enough to eat. I'm sure my sister will be bringing some groceries when she arrives. Hand-picked commodities won't have me gripping at my chest the moment I swallow. I know that should make sure of that. Finishing breakfast, I decided to take a morning walk like I did yesterday. Made sure to bring a notepad like I suggested, and it proved to be a smart investment. The old fool was out on the bridge again. This time he brought himself an easel and a whole bag's worth of whatever petting supplies you could think of. To be honest, I'm surprised someone of his age was able to carry it at all. He was just silently patting the riverbank, and I would assume he's had practice since what he had done so far was fairly decent. At the very least, you could tell what he was painting. This time he noticed me coming up, and again he greeted me in much the same way he did before. Shaking hands and uncomfortable looks and whatnot. What deviated from before, however, was what we were actually able to communicate. I would write down a few words on the notepad and he would write some more, and lines of thought were conveyed. He didn't give me a name despite my asking, but he delved into other things. Apparently, he's traveled the world searching for simple spots to paint. The fool told me, however, that's not the landscape he comes for. And no, he didn't relinquish that information either. But I mustn't complain, really. I don't know the man, yet he has that sort of charm. The type that keeps you invested, even though written conversations, he's old, so he's bound to have a few stories to tell. Something to keep me entertained, at least. 21st September, 1950 redacted. Mari arrived today. First thing she does when she walks through the front door was asking whether or not I've been taking my medication. I swear the woman does not trust me to take care of myself. Still, she means well. I'll give her that much. She was hounding on to me, though, when I mentioned my daily walks. Apparently, walking or any continuous physical activity whatsoever is not exactly the best thing for me. Especially if I'm doing it alone. She went on about how my heart won't be able to pump enough blood to keep me standing, or how my legs will start to swell, binding me to a wheelchair. There's also something she brought, by the way. Plan for the future as much as you want, but it doesn't make me feel any better that you're expecting me to need a wheelchair. Might as well have smashed my dignity with a hammer, and have thrown the pieces out the window to be pecked at by the birds. In other news, I saw that old fool on the bridge. Actually, I don't think I've written down anything he told me so far. I had him convey a few stories of his globe-riding adventure through the notepad. I won't write them all here in this entry, but might as well describe at least one. Actually, I'll just attach the page he wrote it all on, and here it is. I remember a few years back, when I was in Moscow. There was this point where the pavement bridged over a lower road, and you could barely see St. Basil's over the rooftops. In the evenings, the sun would just peer over the Orthodox spires, letting down silvers of white through the clouds that would dance with the snow as it fell. A perfect place to paint, and I met a lot of people too. All of them with their stories to tell,
There was this older woman dressed up in furs that had left a former lover when she was younger, and she regretted every day since. You see, in a strange way that she herself did not fully understand, she had truly loved the man. The sorrow plagued her eyes, giving it so easily away. She had stopped to look at myself painting the rooftops as she did the man she left walked on the road underneath. To her dismay, however, his arms were wrapped around another. He had moved on while she had not. I gave up on the rooftops and started painting her then. And I feel, in some sense, that seeing that man again gave her the chance to put the regret behind her. It was a wondrous spot indeed, and I'll never forget it.
Honestly, I don't believe all of it. How the hell would the fool have known what any of the people he met were about if he couldn't hear a thing they said? But perhaps he wasn't deaf then, I don't know. Still a nice anecdote, or more reminiscent, I suppose, even if it isn't all true. 31st of September 1950 redacted. The nightmares are still running rampant. You have to wonder why your brain will make your face terrible situations during a time when you're supposed to be rested and tranquil. It always seems counterproductive, or maybe the mind is just too good at making things up. And no, I'm not gonna write out all the regret that's burning within me for what happened here. It won't do anything anyway, so there's no point in trying. Also, probably more pressing matter, my legs have started to swell. Mari had a talk with the doctor before she came here, and the swelling was expected. Apparently that's why she brought the wheelchair. It could get worse before it gets better. I don't need it yet, and that's not the pride talking. Though I must admit, getting up is steadily becoming more difficult. Either way, I was able to slip out. My sister went into town to get a few things, giving me ample time to have a walk. Of course, I went out to the bridge, and once again the old fool was there painting his heart out. He wanted to paint me, though. Out of all things, I declined, of course. But I must admit that the gesture was flattering, to say the least. I was able to get another story out of him, but not much else. I suppose he's just very private on certain matters, and it's not my place to pry.
I've been to France before, but it was a long time ago. In fact, I used to have a residence in Paris, but it was more of a summer home on the outskirts of the city. In any case, I remember I once went to Normandy. In particular, I was in Bayeux. There was a spot in its medieval center in the corner of an intersection where half-timbered houses funneled down towards a cobblestone plaza. It was positioned just perfectly to where on certain nights the moon would rise aligned with the plaza. There was this younger man with curly brown hair and a longer face. He would ride past me every morning and ride in every evening on his bicycle. Except on Sundays. You see, he had a passion or something of the sort. He would go to the cathedral cemetery and etch tombstones and plaques onto paper, looking for the more offset graves that stood alone when he could. Then, with etchings in tow, he'd go to the town's hall and library and search for the records of the person whose tombstone he copied. He'd find out who they were, what they did, and what they were like, what they accomplished, and what they left behind. And when inside, he had a reason for participating in this hobby, or his, nor would I say he needed one. He was dedicated, and through it he found fulfillment. It wasn't necessarily a pointless task that I found made his actions that much more enthralling.
Act 6th of October 1950 redacted. I'll admit it's getting much harder to walk now. It's not just the swollen legs, though they play a great part in it. I'm becoming short of breath, and I can feel my heart racing as I move about. It's just becoming far too tiring. And as much as I don't care to say it, the wheelchair is slowly becoming a more appealing option. Still, I don't think I'm there quite yet. But anything can happen, I suppose. My sister, on the other hand, has not been able to take her eyes off me lately. It's not that I don't appreciate what she's doing, but I think she's starting to take it a little too far. She's controlling my diet to a D, making sure not a speck of salt happens to find its way sprinkled into my soup. In fact, it's only soup that she's been forcing me to eat along with a few sandwiches here and there. If she weren't my sister, I'd tell her to bugger off, but I can't, obviously. I was able to sneak out again, however, to participate in the walks that I, for some reason, desperately crave. To be honest, I simply find it a soothing activity. And nature, I find it easier to lose myself in thought, and lost in thought is a very pleasant state of being. Besides, I've got to enjoy my legs while I can. And yes, I did happen to find my way back to that tramway bridge. It's not that I tended to go there every time I take a stroll, but it just becomes part of the route, I suppose. Anyway, the old man was there painting again. I'm not sure whether he's been painting the same thing and simply just started over. Who knows how many times. Or if he's a perfectionist. He wanted to paint me again last time I declined, though I felt bad about it. He seems rather sincere if I'm reading his expressions correctly. But he's far too polite to state the fact. Either way, we still conversed. Really, I admit it. And he listened, but I could tell he was taking it in, really listening, or reading in this case. He is the type who cares no matter who you are. At least that's what I'm taking from him. Actually, I find it rather ironic. He's one of the few people who truly listen. Being there as the person you can simply talk to. The fool can't hear a thing. 17th of October, 1950 redacted. It's official, I can no longer walk. When I was younger, I dreaded old age, especially when we visit my great-grandfather out near Monmouth. He couldn't walk 2 steps unless he was gripping onto his crooked cane of his. When he was tired of walking, he would have to have my great-grandmother push him around on his wheelchair. I can still hear the wheels squeaking over the floorboards. He wasn't a bad man, my grandfather, but had no intention of reaching an age when walking became a chore more than anything. I'll admit, I was expecting the age to be 34. Charming, isn't it? At any rate, I think I'm finally confined to this prison of mine, unless my sister has decided to push me around the garden every day. I think I'll have to make do with the porch. You know, now that I'm stuck, my thoughts have been resting. Everything that I could ever think of has just been popping in my mind, and leaving just as quickly as if it's the round Arc de Triomphe. I swear I solved more world problems in my mind in a single day than humanity in the centuries it has to do that for itself. However, it's the strangest thing. No matter what tangent I seem to go off on, I keep coming back to that fool on the bridge. I do not know why, and before you get any ideas, the thoughts are nowhere near the questionable natures. He gave up on those tendencies when you know what happened. But that's the thing. Every time I think of the fool painting the same scene over and over, doing nothing else with his day, I start to think about him. I suppose they're both similar. Private-like to make themselves as mysterious as possible, polite, sincere, and all those things. The only real differences, I'd say, are age and looks. Yet thinking on him just brings in regret. Regret and a lot of guilt. Actually, now that I'm writing this down, perhaps my condition is a punishment. Humorous balancing out the many mistakes I've made. Getting back at me, as it were. Who knows? If that's the case, I'd say it's a fulfilling consequence, and I deserve no better. 26 October 1950 redacted. I haven't got much time got much to say in this entry, really. Being bound to the wheelchair hardly brings out any intrigue to make the day more interesting. The only interest that I get is what I can think of. That and a few books that have been lying around. I found one that I'm quite enjoying. Well, enjoying to laugh at. Starts out with a church on fire, but a sole survivor that escapes the blaze I suspected. An arsonist on the loose who has a backward way of looking at religion. A deputy that's in too far over his head. Apparently it's based off of real events. But I hardly find that believable. In any case, I realize I've neglected to convey one of my anecdotes that the old fool wrote out for me during one of our conversations. It's hardly important, but I really don't have anywhere else to put the paper where he wrote it out on. Either way, it's something. Otherwise, this intro would be all about how incompetently written that book is. That alone is far too much to write down in a single entry.
Many years ago, I found myself wandering the brooks trickling down the Rocky Mountains near Montana. Of course, I'm referring to the United States. I've always been fond of nature, and hiking was a hobby of mine. When I was a younger man, you must give the States credit where credit is due. The wilderness where it stands is a sight to behold. While I was there, I came across a peculiar but interesting spot. It was a clearing amidst pine trees a bit further off the beaten path than I tend to go, but I knew I made the right choice. If I stayed very still, a deer or an elk would creep out from the trees, coming to bask in the sun as the pine canopy hardly let but a sliver of light through. They made excellent subjects for my paintings, but they weren't the reason why I picked that spot. Nearby, a group of people huddled up in something not bigger than a shipping container. You see, they were researchers of sorts, studying a peculiar natural phenomenon that I, myself, didn't ever get a look at. They had been sent there, and they had no closer to figuring out than they were when I started. Then one night, one of them disappeared, vanished without a trace. There was a middle-aged man, older than me at the time, and I searched for him to no avail. They only found his cracked pocket watch under the overturned stone. There's something terrible happened to that man. That's always a possibility, though I come to think that perhaps he didn't want to be found. After all, the institute he's researched for was far too cold and systematic for his liking.
The thing the fool may have gotten caught up in some secret government research operation and didn't even realize it. Write that into a book, it would sell a lot better than what I'm reading. 8th of November, 1950 redacted. Final entry. I was going to have that old fool paint me today. Well, I did in a way. Got Mary to push me out to the bridge and everything. Thing is, he wasn't there. I don't know what I was expecting, really. Man can't be there, but there, surely. To be honest, though, I was more looking forward to the distraction. However, like I mentioned, I didn't leave empty-handed. On the ground where he usually has his easel set, there was a canvas wrapped up in his wax paper and tied off with some cheap-looking string. A little note written in the man's handwriting bearing my name was attached. Now that I think about it, I don't recall giving him my name, since he never gave me his. Strange in any case. I would have torn through the paper then and there, but Mari insisted on doing it back at the house. I don't know why, but I didn't have the energy to argue. Back to the house we went. My sister left me to my own devices out in the garden, as she went to fix some sandwiches and tea. As I was alone, it seemed like the perfect time to get a look at whatever I got from the bridge. Turns out it was a painting like I expected. Thing is, it was painted of me riding a bike out on a trailway. It was enough to get me to chuckle, but not in a bad way. Far from it. But while I was putting it down, I noticed something was written on the back of the canvas in what appeared to be charcoal. It does not matter if others forgive you, if you can't forgive yourself. It'll be painful at first and the scars will show, but then you can start living again. I don't know. It's probably some advice he ripped out of his self-help novel or something. But it's almost as if he knows. I genuinely believe that. I regretted that day for so long, but you know what? I think I'm ready to move on. That's right. I'm ready to put it behind me. Or attempt to, at least. With these words, the regret and the guilt are never again to plague my thoughts. And I'll be able to live on my numbered days, feeling at peace with what I'll be leaving behind. If only for that simple. That's it.
It wasn't the SCP's how it felt like it said a lot about the SCP.
God damn it.
What?
I saw the thumbnail when I opened up an OBS.
Oh, what is it?
This is a kind SCP. He helps people.
For?
Yeah, I already did.
Why are they demonizing the disabled person?
I don't know. Or I can't even check if this is the actual writer or not. It's just a nice painter. Don't make him a sadistic. Alright, you ready for the final speed of night?
He had crossed the bridge many times in earlier years, before he had needed the use of the wheelchair. It wasn't on every occasion, but oftentimes he'd see the old man painting on the bridge. Until recently, when his illness had become more severe, he'd never given the man much thought. However, he felt his time was growing short now, and the thought of the old painter somehow comforted him.
Yeah.
As he reached the far end of the bridge, the old man was nowhere to be found. What had he expected after all? He couldn't be out here all the time.
They got rid of their sister.
The short excursion had already tired out his failing heart.
Oh, yeah.
As he turned his chair round, he saw the old man smiling at him, easel already set up and brushes in hand.
Well, you popped up out of nowhere, didn't you?
Yeah,
the old man nodded and gestured.
Read rejoin Discord very quickly?
What was that?
Can you leave and rejoin Discord, the Discord chat very quickly?
Okay.
Sorry, it just kept cutting you off, and
Ah,
I was starting to get a little tired of it.
that's fair.
And I know it's Discord, not your connection.
Yep. Alright, we ready?
Yeah.
Gestured for him to come nearer.
Today's the day then.
Didn't
A portrait,
he
if
not
you
run
would, good
into the
sir.
painter that moment?
What was that?
Didn't he not run into the painter that time?
No, he didn't.
And he always brought a notebook to communicate with them?
Yep. Because he's deaf. Or
Yeah,
close to it.
he's deaf.
The view
So he can't hear or understand what anyone says.
Yep.
was scenic in this part of Wales. He'd never get tired of it. He wished he could speak with the old man, but he didn't know sign language and hadn't remembered his notepad today. With the final stroke, the painter was done. He wrapped the painting in paper. As he did so, he wrote something on the back before presenting it to the man in the wheelchair.
Paper!
Thank you.
My
I look
God.
forward to seeing it
Paper.
once I reach home.
Wax paper is
Until we
very
meet again,
different.
sir.
They changed the personality of that guy completely.
Yep.
He sat in the garden, the painting on his lap. He peeled off the paper
But
to
they
reveal a
changed
portrait
his
of
age,
himself
so-
on the
What was that?
But they also changed his age, so.
Oh, yeah.
bridge, riding a bicycle. He had a good chuckle to himself. Those days were long gone, but the memory hadn't faded. He turned over the painting and read what the old man had written. It does not matter if others
That's
forgive
not
you
charcoal.
if you can't forgive
Yeah.
yourself. It will be painful at first, and the scars will show, but then you can start living again. November 8th, 1955. He took a deep breath. He couldn't explain it, but
This
somehow
has 2 minutes
the
left.
words
What else is he
resonated
gonna do?
deeply
Yeah.
within him. He had carried the guilt from an accident in his past for a long time now. Maybe it was time to let it go. He decided on the spot that no longer would the regret and guilt plague him. He would live out his remaining days at peace with himself.
Yeah.
So, the painter sees your past?
Your regrets or mistakes, I believe.
And the painting? The words on the back?
Closure. It allows you to move on from the trauma.
And then he kills you.
No, I don't think so. Simple, Chen. More like
What?
gives you peace. In this case, the man was already very sick. His time was close. Perhaps the guilt and regret were the last things keeping him
Gregory
tethered
the
to this
bookworm.
world.
What?
He found his closure.
Thank you, Pythia. This just came in from the Welsh division.
What
So
the
our
fuck?
painter is absolving murderers now?
Perhaps? On the back of the painting, it reads The world has a funny way of putting things into balance through unpredictable means. Children are a precious thing of pure innocence and truth, but one cannot always be there for them.
The remainder of the text was too
Are
blurry
we
to be
skipping
legible.
over
I like that.
the
It's
B-class test?
Yes. So I didn't even have him die yet.
time we
Yeah.
bring some balance to her situation. The flight had been long, but both had managed to get some sleep. Where do we start?
Let's go straight to the source, the painter.
As they approached the bridge, it appeared abandoned. No sign of any painter or an easel. A few plainclothes guards stood the perimeter, containing the SCP. Klaus turned to look back in the direction they had come.
Oh, even though I knew that was supposed to happen, it still kind of creeps me out.
You're telling me guys appearing out of thin air isn't something you ever get used to. They approached the man.
Neither of you
Hello,
even fucking know
I'm
sign
Claus.
language.
Oh, wait. Klaus and Chen have some histories, so if Klaus gets their painting done, is it gonna show Klaus and Chen?
Maybe it will.
And
I'll
this
be
is
happy
Agent
with
Chen.
whatever he does, so long as it doesn't involve a German party member.
Yeah, oh yeah, Naruto was the defense too. Yeah, it was too.
The
That's
old man
true.
smiled and gestured for them to stand before him.
Thank you, but we are in a bit of a rush. We just want to ask you
Just
some
tell the
questions.
deaf guy, maybe
The
he'll
old
hear
man
me.
gestured once again for them to stand
Also,
before
a
him.
comment
Listen,
that it only
we love
took a
art
quick
and artists
Google
and
search
stuff.
to find
Picasso, Da
a better
Vinci.
font for charcoal than what they use.
Yeah.
Island Boys, you name it, but we just don't have the time for a self-portrait right now. Can you tell us who this is? Klaus showed the man the picture. He frowned and gestured once again to the space in front of his easel. This is going nowhere.
Let's show this picture around the town and see if anyone recognizes her.
What?
Who are the what? This is unrelated to the SCP.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Well, we're getting nowhere in a hurry. Nobody seems to recognize her.
Yeah, looks like we'll need to try something else.
Hang on a second.
He pulled the phone out and took another look at the picture.
What if... What if she isn't harming that baby?
There's blood on the scissors, on her hands.
Cum hoc ergo propter hoc.
Ego props to who?
With this, therefore, because of this. We see the baby. We see the scissors and the blood. That doesn't mean she killed the baby. Correlation does not imply causation.
What?
Come with me.
They returned to the bridge. The old painter was there, waiting for them with a smile on his face.
A bloody baby
I think
does not mean they murdered the baby.
Yes, I don't know.
I get it.
The painter merely smiled back and pointed to the space before him. Fine, fine, but if I stand there, you better be ready to answer some questions. He politely nodded as Chen took his place in front of him.
You know this girl, don't you? What you wrote here on the world finding balance and that children are precious even if you can't be with them, that wasn't
Wait,
about
that
murder, was
that
it?
line was towards a man, not a.
Oh my god. Let's get a 0% already.
The old man looked back at Klaus with an astonished look on his face and shook his head.
The scissors, the blood, the baby. She had a miscarriage. But the scissors. Why the scissors?
What
The
the
old man
fuck?
pointed at his stomach with the brush in his hand.
Ah, of course. The umbilical cord. The scissors were to cut the umbilical cord. There was no crime here. Just a young woman's loss. But you spoke of the world restoring balance. What did you mean?
The painter reached behind his bag and pulled forth another painting. In it, the same girl stood, but with a baby crying in her arms. He turned over the painting to reveal the same writing as the original, but the blurred words were clear and visible now.
Do not be saddened, for more importantly, a wondrous soul has been brought into this world, given the chance to live. So, she had another child.
The old man smiled and nodded,
What?
then returned to his work.
This doesn't sound like anything you
A
would
bit of
play.
a wasted trip, but worth it, nonetheless.
No trip is wasted if we can learn a little bit more about an SCP.
Baby, you have a
And
mom coming.
Yeah. Peter paints Chen and Klaus making out sloppy styles' book.
life, I guess.
You're all heart, Doc. The painter waved his brush as he completed his work. He
I
lifted
didn't
it
know
off
they
his
could do
easel.
that either
That's all right.
before. I didn't know either.
Yeah, me neither.
You keep that one.
You sure you don't want to have a little peek?
Nah, I'm good.
Just a teensy-weensy little peek?
I've got no regrets, Doc. Don't need to see whatever it is he's painted.
Fair enough. Thank you for your time.
The old man set the painting down as the two walked away.
Just remember that every action will bring forth a formidable reaction, no matter how small or significant that action may be. What the fuck?
What?
SCP-3471 is a cast iron
What?
tramway bridge in Robertstown, Wales. It is unclear exactly when 3471 began to showcase anomalous properties, though the earliest reports of manifest.
I don't know. That was for the D-class who got shot. But what the fuck was that? Yeah.
Station date back to 1950. Should any individual attempt to cross SCP-3471, 3471-1 will manifest near the center of the deck, generally peering over the bridge railing. 3471-1 appears to be an elderly Caucasian man, standing approximately 1.8 meters in height and wearing tattered articles of clothing. 3471-1 also displays mannerisms and attributes akin to those affected by significant hearing loss, speaking only through sign language and being unaware of sounds made in its vicinity. In each manifestation, 3471-1 is accompanied by a standard painting easel, a canvas, and a duffel bag, all of which materialize near 3471-1's person. Notably, 3471-1 only manifests completely when its materialization position is out of the field of view of any individuals present. Throughout the interaction, 3471-1 will attempt to coax the subject into standing in its point of manifestation, making sure to keep the individual from moving from that position. If the subject complies with these coercions, 3471-1 will step back to the easel and canvas, proceeding to withdraw acrylic paints, paintbrushes, and similar implements from within the accompanying duffel bag. Following this, 3471-1
Okay, there's a drawing
will
again.
begin to paint the subject through differing depictions with each individual. Once the artwork is presumably completed, 3471-1 will write a message on the back of the painted canvas with a charcoal pencil. The individual receiving the painting tends to interpret the message as relating to impactful events they've experienced. 3471-1 will then proceed to secure the canvas with wax paper and string, and will attempt to give the completed painting to the subject. Guilt and tragedy are scars that last a lifetime, but like any scar, they heal slowly and hurt less as time progresses. Though they may never completely leave us, they will become bearable. Time heals all wounds. As always,
What the fuck
have a
is
care,
that?
And remember to subscribe, like, and share, if you would.
And Bookworm says, out here, I'm hoping that the paint shows a bit of drama depicted Shen and Klaus breaking up. Shen knows his love for Klaus is dwindling, but poor Klaus is either oblivious or resistant to it. I'm over here just making a whole fanfic of Shen and Klaus and their relationship. I thought it was going to be... Well, actually, it does make sense, because Chen used to be a D-class, shown in a previous video.
Yeah, and Chen obviously never lost to their mind. But Claus says they did, so
Yeah.
Chen acts like he doesn't have it.
Yeah. Alright. Removal of character / license. Literally almost all of them in the name of the article. Alright. Added gore or violence.
4.
The TV's from the bottom of the article.
4.
Only men in the video / offensiveness.
They removed literally everything and added a random female character.
Yeah. So you're saying another 4? Do you agree, Bookworm?
Also, I feel like it was super sexist and insensitive the woman they did add. Like, what the
Yeah.
hell is don't? It literally meant don't be sad over your dead baby.
We're the sister for. Yep, 4. Alright. 0% for the end. I like how you said, yeah, you finally got up to 40%. 0, 0, 0.
What was I punished for liking the god to? Did I curse us?
Probably. Alright, so hold on. Before we end it off, I'm gonna count how many we have left. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. That's it. 17 left. And we're getting like 6 done a night? We can get it done pretty quickly. Thought we were free from this, man. No, we're not done yet. Not yet. I actually am saving Dr. Bob for the end, because he is the less problematic. I've actually watched a video of his before, and it's actually not that bad. They may leave a tiny chunk out, but it's not that bad. Dr. Bob isn't as bad as everyone else. I think Professor Lucius...
I wish it wasn't to 0!
Yeah.
0.
Professor Lucius is the worst. So far. Like, they're worse than the Dr. Bob, which is... Not Dr. Bob, there's the rubber, which is saying something. I'm not gonna worry about rating. I'm just gonna end stream. So book on last words go. Yeah, you're saying, Cherry?
They could have at least not removed the sister. What was the...
Yeah.
What was the point?
I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see if they ever kiss, Bookworm. I don't think they will. I don't think they will.
Yeah, probably
it makes
not.
me sad. You'll only see them kiss and fanfic if anyone ever has.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about the sound alerts. There was something we didn't even use. For some of the, some of them, where is it?
I'm gonna look up for shits and giggles if there's any fan art of Klaus and Chen.
Probably. We didn't use this. For some of the anomalies, Bookworm.
Brother, what's that? What's that, brother?
We forgot about it again. But yeah, go ahead and do your last words, Bookworm. It's so cute. Baby boy busted. I accidentally left my uniform on the tip of my bed, and he took it, and now he's laying on it. It probably has my scent on it, and he likes it. It's so cute. You're cute, Buster. I love you, Buster.
Like, comment, subscribe and follow Bright for more banging your head into the wall and reacting to bad content farms. Give her money to help repair the brain damage and wall damage from this action.
Just doing channel points, TTS, that's fair. Yeah, but for now on, Bookworm, if it gets really bad with the content farm video, we use this.
Brother, what's that? What's that, brother?
Yeah, I was right. There's no fan art and Chen.
It's just Bookworm and you.
Brush me.
Now.
Because I looked up SC and the only things I've got are
Yeah.
BP like shipping.
It's a sport. Alright. Anyways, Danger Noodles. I hope you enjoyed. See you guys next time for your next mission. Hopefully, tomorrow I'll be able to come on a lot sooner, and hopefully, they won't be as bad. Makes sense, as Ice doesn't care about their romance that much. Yeah, they're just too busy getting brain rot. And, upper brain rot pussy angle.